What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Tonight, we have a lot to talk about. And tonight, we are going to be talking about now Major Hurricane Erick as of the latest NHC update. But before we get into that, we're going to be introducing our callers here. First one up is Daniel. Daniel, say hello.
Hi.
All right. Next one we have is Charlie. Charlie, say hello to the audience.
Hello.
Yeah. The next one we have is Yoshi. Yoshi, whenever you have the chance, say hello.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Very faint.
I
Very
guess-
faint.
I tried.
There he is. Yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it right now. If you guys are ready to go, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Start with the obvious situation that's unfolding right now in Major Hurricane Erick, as it is approaching the Mexican coast right now. We're in the Eastern Pacific. We're going to be going over that. Here's the latest satellite imagery that we have pulled up for you right here. So here's the situation, just to kind of go through this very quickly. Major Hurricane Erick now has winds of 120 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure, according to the National Hurricane Center, is 953 millibars. I do apologize for the flashing lights of the satellite imagery. For those who are prone to seizures, I do apologize. We're going to get through that. And it is currently moving towards the Mexican coast at a pretty quick pace. So at this current point, its current location is about 55 miles southwest of Puerto Angelo, Mexico. It is moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. Its current maximum sustained winds, as previously mentioned, was 120 miles per hour. Reports from Hurricane Hunter's aircraft reconnaissance indicate that those maximum sustained winds have increased to that, and additional strengthening is expected until the center makes landfall. Hurricane force winds extend outward 25 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 90 miles from the center. So this is a relatively small storm as it's approaching the region, but it's very powerful, as you're seeing right now, as we're already at a Category 3 hurricane, potentially getting up to even stronger strengths as more recon data comes in and as more satellite estimates continue to come in. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our callers, and they're going to go ahead and give their analysis and kind of give a rundown as to what's going on, what we should be looking for. So whoever wants to take the floor, you guys, it's up to you.
Someone else can go. I'll go last.
All right, Daniel. Charlie or Yoshi, you can go. You can go.
Okay, I'll go. So from what I'm seeing is it's definitely a really bad situation because look at the satellite loop. You just see this convection just wrapping around the eye,
Yep.
and it formed an eye pretty early. Last night I believe it was beginning to undergo rapid intensification, and I guess it still is by looking at latest recon. So if you live anywhere in Mexico, anywhere the cone the National Hurricane Center has, you need to take this pretty seriously because this is not a hurricane to mess around with. A rapidly intensifying hurricane can change in wind speed in such a crazy amount of time. So please pay attention to local officials and the National Hurricane Center.
All right. Thank you.
The specific. He said Mexico, like Mexico in general. I do want to elaborate here.
Go ahead for sure.
That the specific counties, I wouldn't say counties. I think they're called regions in Mexico. The regions that are being affected most likely would be Guerrero and Oaxaca.
Yep.
So anyone in those areas, well, they probably know.
Yeah.
But here.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. Looking at some of the graphics here from the National Hurricane Center, looking at how things have evolved. First of all, we've noticed that this has shifted a bit further away from the west and more towards the north as the time has continued to go on, getting it closer and closer to the coasts, to those coasts in Oaxaca. Is that how do you pronounce that, Yoshi, again?
Oaxaca.
What?
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca. Yes, it's getting closer and closer to
Yeah.
Oaxaca. It's pushing further to the north than west that we've noticed, and that's kind of a pretty concerning thing taking a look at it, because what we were initially anticipating was this system maybe making landfall around roughly tomorrow morning as this continued to intensify. It's looking as it's moving more towards the north. It looks like the landfall time has been cut down considerably, and as we've seen right now, it is currently about 55 miles southwest of Puerto Angelo, Mexico. And I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look and do some measurements very quickly compared to what we were seeing around where the coordinates of the center are compared to what we're at land, heading towards land. There's a possibility that this could make landfall in the next, I'd say 6 to 8 hours. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
So I will jump in here.
Go ahead, Daniel.
So I'm currently have Radar Omega pulled up. If you want to show your stream that, Pat,
Yep, I will go ahead
I
and
have
do
it
that.
screen sharing. I have recon and I have the wind field up. So hurricane winds are still offshore. The the weird in between winds, the 53 to almost hurricane gusting force winds, are still just barely offshore, but tropical storm force winds are coming ashore now.
Yes.
Have been. So still a relatively large wind field, but again, it's going to be in this main core area. So we're waiting for Recon to remake its next pass into the Eyewall, but for the time being, it is seeming like it's shifting back towards the west. So that means that time frame of landfall might get pushed another few hours.
All right.
It looks like it's going to scrape the whole coastline.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. There's someone in. Okay, I'll bring Yoshi back in here, real quickly. Yeah. Well, you know what that means, though. Unfortunately, if it ends up scraping the coast like that, under the conditions it's under right now, you're looking at a situation where maybe this continues to intensify unless land interaction starts to chip at its structure as it gets closer to land.
Yep.
I know. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
I was just going to say if we're looking at the satellite loop, it might have taken a slight, a mile jog towards the north.
Oof.
Still would put it, well, maybe a few miles, but still would put it still offshore and would make a clip landfall.
Yep.
Technical landfall that would still be, the sensor would make landfall, but it'd still be offshore, and then it would also still go back over water. So
Okay.
I would say based off based off current trajectory, again, if it wobbles, it will change, but somewhere in here
All right.
is where I'm thinking.
Okay, so that's just west of Tepec as well. Ooh, pretty scary situation, regardless of what's going, where this makes landfall. So, for those of you who are tuning in and have been not following what's been going on, with Erick. Erick was at earlier this morning a 65 mile per hour tropical storm. This is now a 120 mile per hour Category 3 hurricane. So in the span of about 15 hours, we nearly doubled in intensity, and Recon isn't even in the northeastern Eyewall just yet. They're gonna hopefully make a pass there in a little bit, and we'll get some more data and see how that will pan out and how much more this is intensified in that phase, because in their last pass, and I have the Recon data pulled up, What they were finding was they were finding in the southeastern Eyewall flight level winds around 95 knots or so. Um, and they found SFMR data getting close to about 100, and their dropsund data, if I can take, they didn't really put out a dropsund in that part of the Eyewall, but they did put out a dropsund in the eye to kind of take a look at. We were down to 954 millibars at 16 knots, which the NHC reduced to 953 once you take the standard deduction of 10 knots per millibar. And that's kind of where we're at right now with this recon mission. Still needs to get into the northeastern Eyewall, and the northeastern Eyewall is the strongest sector out of all of them right now. And there is also another feature that we need to discuss as well. This system is currently on the back stages, from what I understand, of an Eyewall replacement cycle. And I've been talking to some people behind the scenes about that as well in my tropical chat here at Storms United. I was talking to Alex about it. I was talking to Andrew Austin Adler about it. I was talking to a few other people about it. It looks like the Eyewall replacement cycle is nearly complete from what I have seen. In fact, I can pull this up right now. So ultimately, this is a latest tweet from Andrew Austin Adler, and taking a look at this, which is the infrared satellite right here. It looks like the outer Eyewall is kind of almost wrapped around the inner Eyewall, and it looks like the outer Eyewall is finally starting to take shape at this current point in time. So we're going to have to see how that'll affect the intensity of this system, but at least according to Recon, at least according to what we're seeing on satellite, it's not really slowing down in intensity right now. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I agree.
Yeah, so also another concerning aspect is the eye has also gotten a little more closer to a pinhole.
Yes.
Which, for people that don't know, which
I do want to say though.
Go ahead.
Yoshi, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify a bit. We are dealing with a pinhole right now, actually. Over the last 12 hours, Dvorak has pointed out that the eye is classified as a pinhole.
Okay, thank you. Daniel, please continue.
Yes. So pinhole, yes. It's definitely... That also makes it a lot more susceptible to... Well, I can't pronounce the word. A lot more
susceptible.
Yeah, thank you. To eyewall replacement cycles when it's this tight of an eye. When you have thunderstorms this intense around an eyewall, an eye this small, it tends to cloud it, and does tend to have eyewall replacement cycles. And this region in the East Pac is known for having these types of eyes during strong systems like this.
Yes.
I mean, the most strongest on record ever was over here. Yes,
Patricia.
Yes. And that one was getting, that was a very small eye. So this one, honestly, what it's at right now, it's probably going to be around what the threshold of the clearing is.
All right.
Maybe a brief clearing, but honestly, at this point, it has so much, has quite the warm heat content underneath it. It's going to keep intensifying at this rate. And also, another thing I want to mention is looking at the structure, you're starting to get that buzzsaw look to it. Yep.
That's what I was noticing.
Instead of your banding features of like a normal hurricane, it's now transitioning into more of that, buzzsaw.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as well, and I'm looking at the recent satellite imagery right now. I just got the latest frame of it. Definitely, its structure is starting to look a lot better on satellite now than it was previously, looking
Yes.
more like that buzzsaw. Looks to me that that ERC is almost complete right now. I'm gonna check with some guys behind the scenes on that to kind of see if we can get a kind of get a situation, see what the whole situation is. All right, but in the meantime,
I can check microwave imagery.
go yeah, go ahead, please do.
Okay, so
Yeah, but in the meantime, man, this has been a pretty rapidly escalating situation. So recon.
I currently have the 3D view
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Yeah. Is recon still? Did recon leave, or are they going to make another pass? Because
Probably
okay,
gonna make another pass.
I'm waiting because
what's up?
like the last data I have is 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I
Is my signal for that?
was about to say that's okay.
Oh, my
here's
finger
your
wasn't off
latest
yet. That's why.
microwave and live stream stage.
All right, thanks. I'm looking at it right now. It's hard to tell. It's hard to.
I know, so it's kind of.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Oh, okay. But yeah, this is quite the situation. Quite the interesting situation. In the meantime.
So this thing does have an outer eye wall, right?
Yeah, it did for quite. It maybe still does. Yeah,
Probably partial one right now.
yeah. Looking at it, but holy crap, man. Holy crap. Yeah. And like you said, Daniel, this isn't stopped. This hasn't really stopped intensifying, and it probably won't. And man, I feel for a lot of the people that are going to be impacted by this tonight and tomorrow. So, yeah. Okay, we're okay. That's interesting. Okay, quick. They got a question. What data did they use to get 105 knots? Mainly satellite estimates, as well as what the recon found in the southeastern Eyewall, and kind of doing a quick estimate from there. Like, I can show you satellites as well if I have it pulled up right here. There's the satellite estimates.
They likely also used pressure too, since it is.
Yep.
Yeah, that too. Because the pressure went from 970 to 953 in a span of 3 hours. That's typically what?
I was just
Like, that's a drop of 5 to 6 millibars an hour. Like, that's not even explosive intensification. That's just atomic right there in terms of how much pressure.
I mean, in most systems, you don't even see it go that fast. Even in some of the more recent strong storms we've had, we've not seen those types of numbers pull.
Yeah.
I mean, they go fast, but maybe not that quick.
Yeah. Brett Stevens, will Texas be impacted? No. This is moving way south and way west of there. How does the angle of landfall affect the severity of the impacts like wind and storm surge, since this isn't going to be hitting at a 90-degree angle? It's going to be a bit interesting. In terms of wind, more communities along the coast are going to get pretty heavy hurricane force winds, since this is approaching at an angle and not just going straight into Mexico at this current point. At least not straight into Oaxaca, not straight into Guerrero and Oaxaca. All right, I'm sorry I completely butchered that, but basically that would mean more communities along the coast would see a lot of wind and heavy wind impacts. But in terms of storm surge, that's a bit.
I mean, yeah. Well, on this though, most of since none of the islands are on the other side of the storm, they're going to be getting pounded by surge.
Yeah.
Because it's all blowing inland, even if it's not directly on a 90-degree angle. It will still be blowing in, and honestly, with a storm this big, they're probably already having surge right now.
Most likely.
At this point.
Most likely.
Even further wherever the eye is at the halfway point, anything behind that, yeah, you're having surge
Yeah, for sure. And considering this is
on the northeast side.
yeah, the northeast side is going to be kind of moving at that angle along the coast right here, and that's going to cause more storm surge impacts. I wouldn't necessarily increase the amount of storm surge, but it would increase the area of impacts per se. So thank
Yes.
you for the question. We appreciate that. Do we think it's going to be a Cat 4?
Also,
Most likely. Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, most likely. Actually, great follow-up question to that, Pat. How strong of a Cat 4 is it going to be?
We'll have to see. Considering that we were looking at,
Was it at 125 right now?
It's at 120 right now.
120.
120.
I'm not sure. We'll have to see but considering
that
what's up, Daniel?
It could make a run for it.
Yeah. It's a little.
I love how the eye is following the exact track of the recon. It's like it's trying to hunt the recon down.
Yeah.
Hunt the hunters.
Interesting, but yeah, I would say it definitely has a good probability of being a Cat 4. The question is, how much stronger after that? I don't know.
Probably not much.
Yeah, considering it's getting close to land, and at least for that factor, right now, the max I could cap it at, and this is a higher max, is around 140. I think 130 is the most likely before it starts to weaken. For right now,
Yeah.
At least for
NXC did talk about strengthening until landfall.
Yeah, they have, but the thing I'm curious about is kind of how the terrain could potentially affect the structure of the system. I remember this discreetly with Hurricane Otis back in 2023, where it really exploded, got up to a pretty strong 165 miles per hour before making landfall near Acapulco. But right before landfall, its satellite structure decreased in intensity and decreased in structure by a pretty decent margin. And ultimately, it kind of just it was pretty interesting to see how it happened. I'm curious to see if land interaction could kind of mess around with, especially considering too how small of a system Erick is. I'm wondering how the terrain would affect it. And I'm just curious about that, personally. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
That is unknown right now. So, but also since this thing will be constantly intensifying, it probably won't matter until landfall.
All right. Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens though. But one thing that
it's 86 Fahrenheit all the way till landfall,
and 100 OHC too.
That too.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
Pretty strong. Yeah, pretty strong moisture. Okay. Yeah, pretty strong moisture gradient as well, and low wind shear in the area as well. That's, I mean, we've been talking about this. This area is notorious for this kind of development to happen. So, yeah. One thing.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing I do want to comment on as well, and I think we were talking about this behind the scenes, is how tight this pressure gradient is. Because it's a small system, we just outside of the core of the system, we're down to 992 millibars, whereas at the eye, which is not very far away, that's about, I'd say about a good 30 miles away, is at 953. That's a 40 millibar drop in a very short amount of time. That pressure gradient is quite good for this type of system, and the only force that generates wind is pressure gradient force. And this has just greatly contributed to that as well, especially that and the falling pressure as well. Um, do you do you guys think the pressure is going to keep plummeting like this, or do you think it's going to take time for the winds to catch up?
It
Because
could keep plummeting like this. It's
Yeah.
gonna plummet like this until landfall. At least it's gonna drop until landfall.
yeah,
To say that it will plummet like this for the rest of its time, I don't think it will. I think there is going to be goodness. I think there is going to be an end to this rapid intensification phase, which we likely already saw it by now,
yeah,
and it could just be doing a normal strengthening until landfall.
yeah. Normal strengthening, as in like 1 to 2 millibars an hour.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah. Where were we at?
Man, this eye is so small.
Yeah, it is incredible. It's incredible.
I think it's getting even smaller.
If that eye continues to get smaller, that's only going to increase the winds because because it's kind of like the figure skater with physics, where if you extend your arms out and your legs out, you spin around slower. Where all your limbs are kind of close to you, you just spin a lot faster. It's kind of that It's kind of that method in physics right there, which if the eye continues to decrease in size, man, oh man, we got a problem. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, yeah. How does this compare to Milton's eye? Milton's eye was, I think, quite a bit smaller than this, and quite a bit more volatile as well.
You can say that again.
Yeah, yeah. That we're not
Yeah.
looking at another Milton situation with this. This is like Milton was 180. This is 120. But
All right, guys, we're gonna wait. We're gonna jump back on at midnight, and this thing's gonna be up there. I'm not saying wind speed because I'm not jinxing it.
yeah, yeah,
I think it will hit at least 130, but weather looks
Are you
proves
guys
wrong
streaming?
yeah.
because we thought that
Like
this was gonna also be
on YouTube or anything, or am I all right?
yeah
to...
yeah
We're
on
streaming.
YouTube.
We're streaming. Yeah, Resnable, what's up? Okay.
Let's see.
Yo, snowball's on. Let's go.
All right. All right? You're cutting out. What's going on? He's trying. Well, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll deal with
Technical difficulties.
We'll deal with that later. But looking at this thing,
Yeah, this eye's gonna be clouded pretty much for the rest of its time.
most likely
At this rate.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a faintly I'm not talking it's fully clouded out, but it's gonna be cloud over because it's so small. Actually, there's a chance that this thing could be going under another. Because this thing just keeps pinching tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
And it's still not like a perfect circle.
Yeah, it's kind of that more elliptical eye right now for at least the time being. So,
But I think this thing is so strong and it has such a good structure. Even if it goes under an eyewall, I think it might keep its strength going through.
yeah.
According to Cyclonic WX satellite, we are seeing another burst on the south side. Let me check. I think south.
Let me take a quick look at
Oh,
that.
southeast.
Oh, the southeast side? Let me take a quick look at that.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
I don't think Red or Omega has the meso.
Oh, I'm noticing.
Right,
I'm
not yet.
noticing.
I have to see if they will
I'm
finally
noticing a
working.
small burst right now. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
looking at that. That is interesting. Okay, let me take a quick look at this. Oh yeah, that's flared up over the. That's a potential hot tower that's flared up over the last couple of scans. Yeah, that's
Oh, there might be a second one on the newest frame. I have to check through AWIP though.
Yeah, we'll have to see on that, but yeah, it looks like a hot tower in the last few frames has flared up. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about,
Hey,
what's up?
hey, Pat.
Yeah, Daniel.
Staring at that satellite loop that you're looking at, you realize what I'm seeing?
What?
You have an eye. You have teeth. Skull face.
We're getting close to that skull face, right there.
It kind of looks like actually it is a skull face. I have to just take a screenshot for you.
Oh boy. Yeah, go ahead. But ultimately, yeah. Yeah, looking at that.
Let me put in no mic. I'll put in no mic.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, you're definitely okay. Yeah, you're definitely noticing that skull pattern starting to show up a little bit.
Hello, Andrew, once again.
And
welcome back from
Matthew,
the dead.
And Matthew, don't forget that. But
and Milton.
Oh man, yeah, don't remind me of that. But ultimately,
Milton was a weird one.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But what we're looking at right now is just a continually evolving situation where this system continues to intensify at a rate where you don't typically see too often. You don't typically see too often, let alone in the month of June. Who would have thought that this would have been a major hurricane on June 18th? Not a lot of people.
Not me.
Not a lot of people would have
okay,
thought
so yeah, I do.
What's up? What's up? Who was talking? Oh, Resnable was trying to. Okay. Yeah, he's still cutting out, unfortunately. But
start to the season, but with how, unfortunately, if we see a very strong start and volatile start to the season, but with how we'll see with what I've been reading in the chat, could be heading into kind of a quiet period as well. That's something else to consider too. A strong start, but like a slow end.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just looking at the latest satellite imagery.
Sorry, I'm out in the woods.
You're fine. You're fine. Hey, I'm going to show you guys this latest frame if you guys are not seeing it on my stream. Control V, that very quickly. That area in the south is kind of moved over more towards the east and has really started to wrap around and intensify at least a little bit around the eye. That is a feature you're going to want to watch, and we'll have to see if that continues to wrap around Erick, because if it does, that's going to cause some problems. Oh boy. Yeah. So. Yep. Yeah. Chase is asking.
I also kind of forgot there's a severe weather event happening.
We have a lot of everything going on tonight.
We do have a tornado warning, just FYI.
Yes, we do. We have
Dude,
a lot
that's
of
like
stuff going on.
That's like just west of me. I'm about to be in it. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, yeah, get to shelter if you need to. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chase is asking, hey Pat, does the EPAC typically start before the Atlantic? Typically it does. Yes. At least to some extent. Not like this, but typically it does. So, yeah, I remember quite a few years where the Eastern Pacific was just, really off to a pretty red hot start. I mean, we had, especially 2022, where we had Agatha, we had Blast, we had Estelle, we had a bunch of other stuff happen. Oh boy, that was interesting to cover for some time. So, yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, David Lee YouTube asks, is it possible if a convection burst grows large enough that it can disrupt the eye structure?
Yes.
I don't...
It can.
It can.
Yes, it can.
It can, yes.
It can block out the venting circulation for a storm, but it depends how big it is. For this, if it's a small eye, it can definitely cause an eyewall replacement cycle to take place, but in strong storms, it usually holds its strength.
Yeah.
In the weaker storms, it can rip itself to pieces.
Yep. But yeah, we're gonna have to watch how this whole convection burst evolves. I'm gonna kind of refresh the page on this. Okay, this is we're seeing multiple minus 80s with that burst over there and continuing to increase. That's not good. That's not good at all. Um, yeah, this is we're looking at another big burst of convection right here. Let me go ahead and show you this. Yeah, if you guys are checking this the chat as well as live no mic as well, I'm posting it in both those areas. Want you to take a look at that and give me your thoughts on that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, these kind of things do start small, but they add up eventually.
That random flare right near the Eyewall.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep. Once those small things start.
So do we want to do we really want to rethink our predictions for the storm, not re-strengthening as quick?
We'll see what happens.
Well, I shouldn't say re-strengthening, but re-rapid intensification.
We'll see what happens with
going.
It is moving. It is trying to wrap east and north. It's on the total east, southeast, and east sides now. It's trying to go to the northeast.
Yep, I'm
and it
noticing
looks
that.
like if it is lucky enough, it might wrap the entire thing.
If that does, then here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Are we gonna have issues with the Central American gyre like we did last year? We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see going forward. I'll keep you updated on that. But we have 56 people tuning in right now. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. Thank you for checking us out tonight as we continue to watch this evolving situation with Hurricane Erick. And we're seeing more of those, that convection really starting to go off right now. So,
well, Pat, I think the most reasonable thing for me to do right now, boot up Flight Simulator.
oh boy, of course, oh boy, just to go into the system. Oh man.
Well, it's actually the first time I will test 2024's graphical fidelity for storms like this.
Yeah. But we'll see how that happens. But man, oh man, it's starting to get more. Yoshi, you were calling it. Starting to get more to the northeast right there. Remember, guys, small flare-ups like this, but small flare-ups like this, like they add up, and if they add up, we gotta watch it, and we'll have to see what happens. Seriously, where's the recon at? Like,
yeah, it's like glitch.
Dead.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's the only reasonable explanation.
Yeah, I was about to say, does anyone have like an idea of what's going on with it? Because that would be very helpful right now. I do know that the next.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Let me check the tropical Reddit tropical weather thing real quick because they usually have insights on what's happening to FreeCon.
Yeah, it looks
so.
like.
So if anyone knows, it's gonna be them.
For sure. So, yeah, it looks like at least it looks like okay, never mind. That was from earlier today. But yeah, I hope we can get some more data from that because
the only explanation for recon being missing is either they're dead or on a 6-week vacation to the
Bahamas. Yeah. Hopefully we can get that data very shortly because it would not be too ideal to just rely on satellite and look at more data.
I mean, it's the possibility is that, it just like the data link is just down.
That's true. That's true. And usually they take a pass in that region before it happens. But yep.
I mean, storms can block out data links sometimes, but
Sometimes,
they're
yeah.
usually resistant to it, especially in recon things. But you never know, honestly.
Yeah. Is that American Recon? Yeah, that's from the NHC. Chase. How fast was the Eyewall
I'm getting no
replacement cycle,
data.
Eric? A few hours, from what I saw. At least from the data I gathered and talked to from people behind the scenes. So, yeah, we'll have to keep up with that. But ultimately, the main thing we're looking at tonight is a landfalling system that continues to show no signs of slowing down in its intensification, and ultimately already is a major hurricane in the month of June. Now the question is, will it get up to Cat 4? And this continues, very big possibility that it does. So that's the situation we are in right now. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, what are you guys' thoughts on what you're seeing?
How many hours till landfall?
It's a little hard to tell because let's take a quick look. Looks like it's
Yeah, it is.
It was moving more to the north
It's running
earlier.
parallel to the coast a little bit.
Yeah, looks like it was moving more out to the north a little bit earlier. Now it's moving more to the west. Sometime between 2 and 8.
Okay, so what the?
Sometime between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. Eastern time. I know it's a broad.
Okay, so not really that much time.
Yeah, not that much time.
That's like less. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this had.
Considering the crazy shit we've seen in the past couple of years, I still really wouldn't want to put Cat 5 off the table because of just all the shit that we've come across. It's probably not going to happen.
But
But
is first off language. Second off, we can't say things like that. All right, like not even the language. Just the fact that we're saying that Cat 5 is possible. It really isn't. It really isn't.
There's
Looking
not
at us
enough time for that
I'd
to
say
happen.
with the whole not enough time.
Yeah. Basically, that's where I'm at.
Well, extremely unlikely, shall we say?
Fair enough.
That would be the correct terminology. But we've seen systems under the correct conditions pull it off right before landfall.
Otis.
This close.
That's true.
That's a big one.
I wouldn't say impossible, but with this storm, probably very unlikely. But I still have
Close to impossible.
I know this might be a little bit of a high chance for this storm at this rate, but
Sure.
I have like a 5% chance of it going Cat 5 briefly right at landfall. But it's
like I'd say at most like maybe 30 minutes before landfall, but even then probably not. I'm not putting it off the table. I'd say Cat 4, like low to mid range Cat 4 is what I put it. That's my prediction.
I think the max I'm willing to still hold out is 140, given just the amount of time.
Which is
That's what I'd probably say.
Which is
140 to 145.
All right.
Wow. Yeah.
Regardless of intensity, though, this is still going to be very bad for whoever gets impacted by this. Yeah, that's something we need to consider as well. Thankfully, it looks like the northward track has taken it mostly out of Acapulco, at least the worst impacts of it, thankfully, has, at least unless it shifts to the west again. Because Acapulco, after what happened with Otis in October of 2023, does not need another system like this to hit over there. What's up, Daniel?
Yeah, about that west movement.
Yeah?
It's wobbled towards the west.
Okay. That's the problem. Well, you know what's another problem?
It is.
Shucks.
It's keeping with the same trajectory as the main forecast path.
Check live, no mic.
Instead of
This
going
is another
outside of
problem
it.
that we're dealing with right here.
Okay.
That's encompassed pretty much the entire eastern half of the Eyewall.
Oh wow.
And
that
took place
just
in the last. What is this? Last 20 minutes?
The,
Wow.
see the issue I have with this though is that in normal cases that this would be good, but also for a system with this small of an eye that is all that is that going to partially cover that eye?
Let me look.
It could, but I think it's more just gonna be covering like where the inner eyewall should.
Yes.
It's just completing ERC. It's pretty close. It just needs to get that north part of the inner eyewall done, and it needs to get rid of a bit more of that outer eyewall or merge it into itself, which it probably isn't doing at this point.
Yeah.
So it's close to ERC, the end of ERC, and it's probably going to start intensifying from next. I don't want to say exact time. I'd say like 2 to 3 hours, 2 to 4 hours though.
Sure. But yeah, also noticing just everything. All the bands are becoming like we're starting to notice more bands with this, at least in terms of satellite. More of a banding feature starting to develop as well, which something we do not is something interesting to see as well. But still, quite an impressive structure, regardless of what happens tonight. Wow. I mean, just give you guys, just give you all tuning in an idea of what we're looking at. 15 hours ago, this was a 65 mile per hour tropical storm. Just to give you an idea. But now, and the pressure was 996 millibars. In the span of 15 hours, we went all the way, up to 120 and 953 millibars. To give you an idea of how fast of an intensification that is, basically, this is actually faster than what Barrel did in last year in the Atlantic, when it went from 65 to 130 in the span of 24 hours. This is going to potentially complete it in 18 at this current rate. That's just to kind of show you just how fast this system has intensified and why I'm so concerned about this. And also, not to mention its close proximity to land. And the stronger this
I have
gets,
some bad news, bro.
What's up?
For now, until I can say otherwise, we have to assume that we will not be getting any recon data up until.
Oh. Did they confirm it?
Recon just closed itself. The page says that the page I'm using has completely cleared out past observations, and it says that we don't see any high density observations. Really anything for the aircraft we've been watching. We gotta go on Dvorak and satellite only from now on.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Until I can say otherwise.
That is unfortunate. And what else is unfortunate is just the rapid pace, because now this burst is wrapping around the northern part of the eyewall as well. That ERC, oh man, the one thing that could have maybe slowed down its intensification, it's not anymore, it seems. Taking a look at satellite, okay. Looking at Dvorak, satellite estimates are now having this at potentially a Category 4 hurricane, at least according to what I'm seeing. Yeah, at least the ADT adjusted is around 120 knots. The ADT scene types, which they're going with the eye, has passed 115 knots and is around, I think, 117 or 118. That is not optimal at all. I'm gonna see what Tropical Tidbits is going for with this. Yeah, they're going with the NHC advisory. So
continuing to push west.
That's not good. More time over water. Oof. Pretty much seeing what you don't want to see in a tropical cyclone. Hey Daniel, I'm not sure if it's you, but I know there's some echoing going on. If you could try to take care of that. That would be much appreciated. Someone in chat was talking about it.
The more the storm moves west, either
What's up? Okay, he's muted. All right, but
the more the more and more that it's moving west across the ocean and not approaching landfall, the more time it's buying itself to potentially intensify.
yep,
Potentially.
that's not and that's what the last thing we want, especially with how strong it is now. Um, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Someone's saying it's like Otis altogether, again, but weaker. In some ways, yes, but in some ways, this is a unique case in itself.
I
Models
don't
are
think
actually
even
better at
Otis
forecasting this.
Did Otis pull off a similar maneuver to what Erick is doing in terms of its movement, like where it runs along the coast and delays its landfall?
To some extent,
Or is
yes.
this unique?
To some extent, until it got to Acapulco, yes, but not to too big of a degree.
So this is more of its unique case for this storm.
Yeah, it's more of a unique case.
That's
where,
not good.
Yeah, it's more of a unique case because originally this was supposed to be moving more towards the northwest. We saw wobbles to the north, to the some to the west as of recent. That's kind of pushed the landfall rate further and further and further to the east. Thankfully, away from Acapulco, but now that's going to impact more areas that also don't need this system. So, kind of a bit of a trade-off right there. So, yeah. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. Thank you for checking us out. We do appreciate the support tonight.
And also to make sure that Pat is not continuing down his downfall.
Of course.
You fell off.
Downfall of Pat incoming.
Oh god. Well, let's not do this right now, guys. We have a cyclone to track. Anyway.
Cycle.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. We're noticing some more stuff happening. Okay. So, on one hand, watching that area in the area near the eye continuing to wrap around, but also noticing a few pockets of convection near the outer part of the core. These are some minor convection that's firing off right now. We'll see how this pans out, but oh man, things are getting interesting. So there's that. And then okay, so this is just all in the span of the last 30 minutes. Just how quickly this has escalated. Look at this. This is now almost encompassing pretty much that gap over there, filling it in very quickly as it's wrapping around very quickly around the eye. This is almost 180 degrees in the span of about 30 minutes. And you're noticing as well, it's a little more subtle, but a little bit more convection zooming in very fast. A little bit more of a flare-up right to the south of the eye as well. It's not as big, but look at my cursor. You're noticing that wasn't particularly there a couple of minutes ago. So that we'll have to watch. Is that another hot tower, or will that die down? We're not 100% sure, but if it is another hot tower, that only thickens the plot right there. So, yeah. So tonight, okay, Daniel's gone, but yeah, tonight you've seen all this on stream. What are your thoughts on how this system has been evolving, ladies and gentlemen? Charlie, you want to go ahead?
For my thoughts of how it's evolving.
Yeah, how it's been developing and how it's been kind of showing the return to satellite.
It's definitely interesting with those with that hot tower starting to wrap around. Those wobbles, those are definitely interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wobbles are at least some kind of indication of the beginnings of potentially some kind of rapid intensification. I'm not saying it's going to rapidly intensify again, but
yeah, that's pretty typical with rapidly intensifying cyclones. Typically, yes, because of how erratic they can become.
Yeah. So that's really my thoughts. So I'm really just waiting to see. Since we lost Recon, that sucks. I'm just waiting to see more Style Data and Dvorak, whatever how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Dvorak.
Yeah, Dvorak.
Yep. Okay. Looking at this right now. Okay, yeah, we're seeing a lot more convection flaring up on the northwestern side of the core. Also noticing that tower becoming a bit more pronounced as of late. Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit more pronounced right now, and it's going to crash into this main feature right there. But regardless, we're at about 180 degrees of this convective burst that's been flaring up for the last 30 minutes, which is absolutely insane. Then again, this is what pinhole eyes can do, so you're going to want to watch and see how this will ultimately pan out. Yeah. Resnoble, what do you think? Okay.
I've got nothing really to add on to right now, sir. I'm kind of just listening on and everything
Take your
and
time.
looking at satellites for stuff.
That's fine.
I was looking on Dvorak on long wave IRs. The storm has formed itself an incredibly thick of what I like to call a white donut, and this is hinting at very, very close. Oh my gosh, very, very cold cloud tops.
Yep.
And it is trying to form itself a darker gray donut on top of that as well.
All
I
right.
refer to them as donuts because that's a pretty good explanation of what the shape is. A donut.
Looking at Dvorak right now. Oh yeah, it's really starting to do that now. Really
Holy crap! I made a
It's
destructive
been
severe.
thickening probably in the past 30 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. What were you saying, Charlie?
I made a destructive.
What's up? Go. What'd you find?
Well, no, I'm just saying I'm in a destructive severe, so I may
Oh.
this,
Okay.
internet.
All right. If you need to get out, you can. If you need to get out, go
Charlie,
ahead.
Charlie. Okay, I don't care if I interrupt anyone, but this is really important. Charlie, get away from windows and make sure you can get up and go to your basement or central center of your house, because right next to the severe thunderstorm warning, this is a PDS by the way. You're getting hurricane force winds with this. That's why I'm saying that. But also right next to yeah, and let me look at it here, right near Westlake, I believe.
Yeah.
Near North Olmsted, there is it just expired. I was about to say there was a tornado warning expired. Either way, you're in a PDS severe thunderstorm warning, so make sure you are away from windows and make sure you can quickly get up here because it's looking bad here.
If you need to move, move. But yeah, thank you very much, Yoshi, for bring us up on that, because there is quite a lot of weather that's going on across the United States and in the tropics that we are watching. So
I was looking at it because I have looking out for a friend in Canton, and I just saw that on Twitter, and I was like, ah, crap, someone's in it.
Yep. So yeah.
Somebody say Twitter.
What's up? Oh, hey, Brendan. Welcome to the stream.
That was my tag. That was my tagline.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we're talking about Hurricane Erick right now. Have you been watching it?
I have not. No, not as much as I would like.
We're at 120 now.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
This went from 65 to 120 in the span of about 15 hours. In the last 24, we were at 50 24 hours ago. Now we're at 120. So tropical storm to Cat 3 in the span of a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty fun stuff that we're watching tonight. Well, not fun for those that are going to be impacted, but yeah. So that's what's going on.
It's going to be a rough night for many areas along the Pacific coast of Mexico.
Yep.
Particularly.
Yeah. Yeah. Make matters worse, it's about to storm where I'm at, so yeah, nothing severe or anything like that, but
That's one of the main. I feel like that's one of the main. That's another big concern is with it being so early in the season and already having a major threat to human lives in several regions, as well as it's not prime time, but it's still late season for severe weather and tornadic activity. So this makes it difficult for a lot of both indie and upcoming storm chasers to track the storm, considering that they have their own worries back home with weather.
Yep. That's for sure.
And this definitely can bring attention away from stories that definitely need that attention, so people are informed on what to do, how to stay safe.
Yeah. Go ahead, Yoshi.
Charlie, are you here?
What's up? Yeah, I'm here.
Are you on the lowest floor of your house right now?
Yeah.
All right, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Perfect.
NWS Cleveland just made a post about that.
All right. Well, sucks that we're not going to be able to get more recon data from this, unfortunately, but we could still look at satellite, we could still look at the Dvorak estimates, and kind of make an educated guess as to what's going on right here. But looking at this right now, seeing how much this is wrapped around is quite crazy. And the fact that it's still going and it's still expanding further out a bit more to the east and all of that, this huge burst of convection, how much it's expanding, that is also a concern. Big question is, what's going to happen once this whole thing wraps around the eye? Do we see another period of rapid intensification? I mean, we're seeing also more convection starting to flare up in the northwestern side of the core right here. You're starting to notice all this convection starting to blow up as well. Noticing a couple spots of convection flaring up, at least on the outer band regions, or at least that would be over here, like outside of the core on the southeastern side. Looks to me like this system is just starting to go, and it's going to keep...
so
yep,
we got a good update here.
all right.
On flight radar, we have our Teal 75 back. We know what it was doing. I don't know if it took its southeastern pass or not.
Okay.
It's estimating it. It probably did.
All right.
I'm just looking at flight radar 24 estimates right now, but
sure.
Yeah, the aircraft was basically lost for a solid hour, and
Oof.
we don't have the recon data itself back.
All right.
But we do know where it's at in the air right now. Anyway.
That is good news.
So
that's really good to hear.
I can't tell if it's going to take another pass or if it's leaving right now. It's taking almost the same path it took itself towards.
Yeah.
I have to check, though. Tropical East Pacific isn't showing anything, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, how does Erick's eye structure compare to Milton of last year? I was looking at the two. They seem like they have a very similar eye structure, especially around the Eyewall.
Yeah.
But we do have to consider that Milton was a lot more volatile of a storm.
Yeah, Milton was a lot more volatile, and it also intensified a lot faster than...
faster.
Yeah.
Erick is also a much smaller storm than Milton was. Milton, especially after its main Eyewall replacement cycle, that and afterwards re-intensified back into a Category 5, a strong one too. It grew immensely in size.
Yep. I would say initially...
So to consider...
Yeah. I would say the structure's similar, at least initially, with Milton, and then after it underwent its Eyewall replacement cycle,
Milton.
Yeah, then it got a lot larger of an eye, and that's when it intensified again. And then you had your situation...
excuse me.
Yeah, then you had your situation where it started, where it was bigger. I would say Erick is definitely smaller than Milton, the core of it is, but at the same time...
Oh, absolutely. Apologies. Erick is a very compact storm compared to what Milton was.
Yeah, I was about to say that, and also...
that's just saying initial, like, not even considering the Eyewall replacement cycle, its size grew immensely. We're talking, like, initially, Milton was still much larger storm, it was much more volatile.
Sure. Yeah, and also noticing Erick's structure is quite a bit more consolidated than Milton's was, because Milton just went to a 180 mile per hour hurricane, and then its structure just kind of, for lack of better terms, imploded on itself, just a little.
It started
bit.
to rip its own self apart, and
Yep.
you usually see that with weaker storms that are battling with internal organization issues. You don't usually see that with stronger, more consolidated storms.
Yeah.
But with Milton just got so violent so quickly that it started to tear itself apart.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen,
like
I'm watching this. It looks like that one flare I was watching earlier has really started to take off as it reached that big area of convection. And now we have another hot tower that's currently firing off right now near the southeastern quadrant of the eye, as that as the northern side of it starts to wrap around the northwest as well. So that was an area to watch, and then boom, just starts to show more signs of another hot tower. So that's not a good sign either. Also noticing more convection firing off everywhere. This burst of convection in the northwest side of the core. These two areas of convection to the southeast of the core that are starting to go off. Ladies and gentlemen, this is likely about to intensify pretty quickly again. I really hope we can get that Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance data. Hopefully they make another pass so we can get an idea of what the heck is going on.
Speaking of that, we still have no data from
Depends
the
on what
aircraft
we
itself,
find.
Yep.
but the Weatherbird is making a second turnaround, and we will get another pass on.
That is some good news. Oh,
Yeah.
Weather Kingdom is here tonight.
We could potentially be looking at a Category 4 storm sometime within the next hour.
Yeah.
If not intensifying into one as we speak. We don't have any data from recon, so we
I
have to
don't
go off the
want anyone
guesstimates.
making any assumptions on this thing's intensity until we get
I agree.
So
Yeah.
we can't be assuming intensities or future intensities until we get this recon's data back, which we should be seeing soon. We have it on flight radar.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, Weather Kingdom has joined us tonight. Weather
Hope we
Kingdom,
do.
how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay. We're watching
Not so
Erick.
great.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. We're
But
watching We're watching Erick. It's really been starting to blow up in terms of its convection over the last hour or so.
That's probably because of Dural Maximum's going to be setting in, and I think for Dural Minimum it did really good.
Yeah, it's currently D-min right now, but
it should by the night.
Yep.
Like midnight hours and the morning hours again.
Yeah, for sure.
But usually hurricanes strengthen a lot at night.
Yeah.
And that's always been a case scenario. And I think we had a little bit of rapid intensification earlier today. And then we kind of saw Hurricane Erick come back to Earth. But I do think we are due. No, I mean, not really back to Earth, but it's slowed back down with intensity.
Sure.
But it's been slowly but surely intensifying in the last few hours. But I think we are on the verge once again of another burst of more energy and more rapid intensification. And I mean, my ceiling right now, I think a low Category 4.
So
that will be my. We're at 130.
No, so you're saying that your ceiling's 130.
Around there, maybe a mid Category 4. I mean, it is closer to land, I feel, than previous stop, but that's because it had a northern jog this earlier today. It seems like in the last hour, maybe a little bit more of a westward movement, according to the Erick recon. It depends where we find all that, where the low pressure is.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at that. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how this will ultimately pan out and how things are going to continue going. But we're noticing a lot more convection just flaring off in a lot of areas. Like convection's firing off on many cylinders around Erick right now as it's approaching land, as it's going to be making landfall pretty soon. It looks like
The Eyewall ring has completed its formation. It's an entire ring now
Oh wow.
in black.
Yeah, that is not something we want to hear. Um, that is bad news, and well, as far as I'm concerned, intensification go boom at this point. So,
Wait, it hasn't though fully. I mean,
well,
it's close to.
it's close to on infrared, but how do I access Dvorak on this?
No, not right now.
Yeah, it's close. Okay, that's not helping too much. It's eVis. Oh, this is actually a pretty cool view right here of what's going on. Is this lightning or no? Huh. I'll have to experiment with this. But,
What do you mean with
yeah,
lightning? I can look for you
eVis.
on that.
Yeah, eVis. I'll send you the link to what I'm looking at. Check live no mic Weather Kingdom. This is the satellite I use. But I was just looking around at this. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Things are getting interesting.
I have no mic.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the ring's almost wrapped around.
Yeah, that is lightning. That is lightning.
This is is it?
I mean, according to weather nerds, their latest frame has multiple lightnings on the southeastern quadrant.
That explains it. Yep. Lightning.
Is it in the southeastern quadrant?
Yeah. Yep. It's on the eastern, slightly towards the southeast, but
Yep.
that would explain it.
That usually indicates more of a rapid strengthening.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a given at this point.
It's looking robust right now.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see how this will pan out, but this is continuing to be a concerning situation for sure. And not only that, it's not just convection that is firing in the core that's going on. It's firing on the northwestern side of it. It's firing just off this side of it on like the outer edge of the Eyewall, like just outside of that, in front of that new burst. I want to see what recon. I want to see the recon data so badly to see what's going on this northeastern side, just because of how much it's blown up over the last little while. And
oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, I wish we could get that, but hey, it is what it is. We'll have to see what
Remember
happens.
that northern jog where it looked like it was going more of a northwest?
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to make landfall in the next hour. I can probably, I mean, if you do look at the mesoscale, it looks like we are starting to go right back into that more of that west movement than that north. So it's probably going to glaze the coast and then make landfall.
Yeah, that's not a good case scenario at all, and like none of these are good case scenarios right here.
Even if it makes landfall right now, it's still very,
very
very
bad
dangerous,
regardless.
Catastrophic.
Yeah.
Regardless, correct.
Oh yeah, that's going to cause pretty bad damage, whether it's flash flooding, whether
I have
it's
a good
storm
question.
surge. What's up, Weather Kingdom?
Do we have a radar for this in Mexico?
Yoshi, do you have Mexico radars?
I wish I did.
Okay.
But I can probably find them.
All right. If you could do that for us, that would be very helpful. If not, that's okay, but we would appreciate it, because that would be interesting to see the structure of this. Because I remember, Kingdom, you remember during Barrel last year, where we were using the Barbados radar and how helpful it was in detecting the eyewall replacement cycle. Yeah.
Yes, that was.
Yep, that was very helpful for that. But yeah, we now have 62 people in chat. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. As the ring is mostly closed, we're looking at, as of right now, we're looking at about 90 to 95% closed compared to what we started with about an hour ago. Like, we started seeing this convection bursting up around 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time, and then this is now 45 minutes later, and we're almost complete at this current point, and the pink continues to expand as well, which is also pretty concerning to say the very least, because that's telling me it's about to fire on all cylinders, and what happens next will be pretty interesting to say the very least. Taking a look at Dvorak,
Honestly,
we're up
yeah.
to 120 knots on satellite estimates now.
I think the National Hurricane Center, did they actually? I think this is a major hurricane, right?
Yep, it's 120 right now.
What are they forecasting?
Right now they're forecasting a peak of 125 based on satellite estimate and what's going on the ground.
And a Category 4 is a 130 and up,
130.
right?
Yep.
Ooh, I think this will hit at least a low end Category 4.
Yeah.
Because we still got, I would say, we still got a bit more hours.
Sure.
Because if this westward movement continues, this more westward, and the hurricane can buy another hour or two. I mean, I still think we're going to get earlier, but we're just going to have to keep a track of the eye, because remember, the conditions are very well warm, and regardless, the coast is right now getting slammed with at least outer bands, a lot of storm surge, and the impacts already have started.
Yep.
There's already, and right now in the Gulf of how do you say that? It starts with TEH. Yeah, they're getting some probably significant storm surge.
I wouldn't, not as significant as I'm sure you would think because of how far away, how small this is.
Yeah.
But
bad news, bros. Landfall zone is in a radar.
It's in a what?
In a what?
Catedral here.
What's up?
The landfall zone is a giant radar hole.
Oof, oof, oof. Well, that's okay. We appreciate.
I'm back, by the way, and right now I'm loaded into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and there's like 50 airplanes in the eye right now in Sim.
Well, that's not surprising, but we'll have to
I'm taking a screenshot of this and just sending in no mic so you guys can see for yourself. And actually, the eye actually looks pretty good in Flight Sim. It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
I have a good question.
Go ahead, Weather Kingdom.
I'm gonna do some live no mic.
What were you about to say?
That structure is, I think, 1 to 2 frames away from closing off.
Yeah.
1 second. Seizure warning for those of you who are susceptible. Thanks, John, for giving me this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good job.
Holy heck. Yeah, we're 1 to 2 frames away from this closing off completely. Go ahead, Weather Kingdom.
I was just gonna say I want to see the frames. I'm loading it up right now.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh wow, you are right. I'm not liking that outburst right near the eye.
Yeah.
Neither
am I.
Usually convection helps to bring the winds.
Blazing Saddles.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all.
I've never had classic Western.
Yeah. Really intense bands right now going.
Okay. I'll just do that. All right. Yeah, this is about to be.
I can't wait for recon.
Me too. I don't know what's the pressure currently. Right now it's 953 based on what we have.
Wow.
Check. Yeah, it was 970 earlier, but it's really ramped up. What are we looking at? Oh yeah, the pressure according to Dvorak. 941. 942 if you round up.
I think recon might be going back. Not doing another pass.
Where are you getting this from?
It's been AFK.
I don't think recon's going.
But anyway, Dvorak's maximum is at 120 knots, which is 140 miles an hour. That's according to Dvorak. That is not good. And we're seeing a pretty decent surge of viewers coming in. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. We would really appreciate if you showed the support. But yeah, this is a pretty serious situation that is continuing to unfold. Okay. Let's take a look at the
I'm just gonna mute him for now because he's hot micing.
I already did. But man, Daniel, what do you think of the satellite? Pretty gnarly stuff.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm in flight sim and I'm already having turbulence.
Yeah.
In the sim, so.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Yeah, you know what?
Satellite's going back in. The Raycon's doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, they've been having issues for a while since before you came on stream, so we're gonna have to wait on them. Right now, we're gonna have to rely, unfortunately, on satellite, which sucks, but it is what it is. I can't complain too much. So, yeah.
Wow, this is a nasty hurricane.
This is especially for June as well. At
least it's not in the Eastern Pacific.
Yeah.
I mean in the Atlantic.
This is in the Eastern Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. At least it's not in the Atlantic.
Yeah, for right now it isn't. But I'm noticing this Weather Kingdom. Doesn't this remind you of Barrel from last year when it kind of underwent its...
I was going to say that, but I was not going to say that.
It reminds me in the way where it ultimately... It underwent its Eyewall replacement cycle. And then it started doing just this same thing, where you start seeing convection bursting. I was talking to David about it, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it, Pat. That's a good thing. It's battling shear." And I was like, "David, this is starting to wrap around the center." And then he was like, "Oh, crap, this is going to be a problem." About an hour later, similar situation where all of this wrapped around, and Barrel made landfall as what we thought was a high-end Category 4. And then what was actually 140 miles per hour then became a Cat 5 in open Caribbean waters. This is not the same situation. This ain't got the time for that. Hopefully.
Yes. I think right now it's going through an Eyewall replacement regardless.
It has been. It looks like it's pretty much done.
No, I don't. I really think it's just holding where it is.
Is it? Because there's been... I'm in other Discords too, and everybody's been going back and forth with if it's going through an Eyewall replacement.
It reminds me of Goni right now. It reminds me of Goni.
Typhoon Goni?
And that was a Westpac storm.
Okay.
Typhoon Goni, where it was doing Eyewall replacement cycles, but still just intensifying the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, its structure is really, really a buzzsaw right now.
Yeah, for sure. But
it's also flaring and a strong convection flares, so.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's firing on all cylinders now. There's no question about it. My oh my. Oh.
I'm really interested in what's going to be happening with this storm.
Yeah, looking at this now. Okay.
I'm not liking that rain though. That does remind you of Barrel.
Does a
with
little
that rain.
bit, yeah.
I don't want to say it, but it does.
It kind of
Oh, let me look at the lightning.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's mainly concentrated on the eastern side of it right now, but my oh my. This is quite the situation that a lot of people are currently facing right now. Man. Okay, we're continuing to watch.
Oh my god, there's so much aircraft in this right now.
Yeah. No kidding.
Pat, look at my screen. Just look. The most unrealistic thing possible.
Rose, can we not show Microsoft Flight Simulator,
no, we're not.
Simulator until later?
We're not showing it. But holy crap.
Well, I'm also in the storm itself, but it's...
But oh my goodness, this is a...
Let me look at...
It looks like Recon is trying to get out of here for some unknown reason.
I don't
Probably
blame him.
running into technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd
blame him.
imagine, but like I haven't seen something like this before. It's weird.
Yep, looks like it's closed off. At least the -70 ring's closed off. Well,
I really
meanwhile,
want
the
Recon to go
-80
back
cloud
into
tops
this.
are about to wrap around. We're about 60% complete of that ring. Now that's going to be a big problem. Now, granted, this convection has partially clouded like over parts of the eye, so there's that. But wow, that is a sight you do not want to see. It's a very pretty structure, but it's also that means more. It's going to be pretty destructive, to say the very least. So, oof. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on what you're seeing on satellite, man? What are you guys' thoughts on what you're seeing on satellite? I guess. Yeah, it's pretty just man. This is your typical rapidly intensifying situation right here. Best way to describe it. I'm going to take a quick look at this. Man.
Convection's blocking the eye partially.
Yeah, I mentioned that just a little bit. But man, this -80 cloud top ring just does not stop. It just keeps going. Ooh.
Yeah, I need to charge my phone.
Yeah. You go do that.
Don't worry, I'm staying on.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like the core of it is, at least in terms of its expansion, is starting to... Okay, never mind. That was outside my house. But yeah, it's starting to thunder up again where I'm at. But man, oh man. Looks like the core is starting to make its approach. Daniel, your thoughts, is this moving more to the west or more to the north in your opinion? And if so, I want you to take a quick look at this. I know you're in Flight Simulator, but I want you to take a quick look at the satellite.
Yeah, I have multiple screens, as you know.
I think west more.
Yeah, west.
Yeah, you think so?
As of this second.
Yeah, it's a west.
Okay.
It's a west jog. It's gonna
west jog and then go back to its...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been going on a west trajectory for a while now.
Yeah. Jackson's
If
asking
it blazes the coast into tomorrow morning, wow,
Yeah.
that would be something.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not either.
Because at that point we might actually be going on a higher N4.
Yeah. Yeah, Jackson's asking if there is if there's any populated areas in the way. It looks like yeah, there's some
decently.
Yeah, there's some decently populated. I know the closest one is
I mean, at this point, it's not even like you have to even be in the whole wake of the storm. It's just like a domino effect is happening across the whole coastline.
Pretty much.
Correct.
Pretty much. I'm going to go ahead and look at infrared on tropical tidbits to kind of see how this has been moving. Oh, yeah, it's definitely taken a pretty hard left turn to the west. Yeah, that's a lot easier to see on tropical tidbits than on Dapia. But yeah, that has taken a pretty significant turn to the left, to the west. So that's going to be
Is it? Are you using the mesoscale or?
I'm using the for satellite imagery. I'm kind of loaded in on the Hurricane Erick setting of tropical tidbits. So yeah.
Yeah, that is taking a left.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That ring is almost complete.
Yeah, both on the tidbits and on the Dapia website. Well, on the Dapia website, it is complete. But yeah, in terms of Yeah, Tropical Tidbits. Yeah, it's running a little bit behind. This is actually the closest you'll get. This is actually only like 3 minutes behind compared to Tropical Tidbits, where it's like 10. So we use this a lot more right here. My oh my.
I would use AWIPS, which is usually about 30 seconds to a minute behind, but apparently it doesn't want to load mesoscale. I don't know why.
Well,
It literally refuses.
That's awful.
Oh my god, that pink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, no kidding.
I really want
Negative
recon.
80
I don't even know.
Celsius.
Is recon
minus
going
80
back in
plus
this?
minus 80 degrees Celsius.
Probably another mission will probably go back in because it seems like the one that went in probably had some either hardware or technical error.
Yeah, I hope they do go.
I would
back
say
in.
probably both. I would probably say both. If they had to get out of there, it was probably both.
Yeah, but yeah, no change in Dvorak right now. Still 140 miles an hour is their estimate. Quite the.
Oh, the lightning is still going on.
It's going on everywhere. Yeah, it's still going on the southeastern side of it. Let's take a look at. There's air mass. It's RMMB. Man, this is quite the sight to look at. This is like, this is cloud tops just measuring, kind of filtering out a lot of the warmer temps. Like the minus 70 ring is, it looks like it detached
Very
a little
close.
bit, but the minus 80 ring, it's allowing the minus 80 ring to catch up, which is not a good sign at all. Yeah, RB top. Yeah, this is the cloud top temps.
So is this done going through an eyewall replacement cycle, you think, or
I've lost track where that is at right now.
I don't even know. I feel like it's been going back and forth.
Discussion. One sec, getting the picture. Okay, Resnoble is sending us a photo very quickly. So.
Yeah. On what, live no mic or?
No, it's in Tropical WX.
Yep.
Yeah, send it when you can. Because if we can get that, what you're looking at, I'd like to take a quick look. So, all right. But holy crap. What a way to start off the season. Now, this isn't in the Atlantic, but this is in the Eastern Pacific. So, still counts. It still counts to look at this.
Yeah, it's still hurricane.
Wow. This
what
is
that?
On Tropical Tidbits. Oh, this isn't the right one. This isn't the correct one.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, that is not the satellite.
What's up, Yoshi? What's up? Oh.
Nothing.
Okay, cool.
Trying to look at.
Yeah, but what I will say is, just looking at satellite, it tells you the full picture of what we're seeing.
Correct.
Yep. Ooh. Things continue to get. Things continue to ramp up. Things continue to escalate. So. Yep. Okay, we'll get his photo in a bit, but yeah, I think one thing we haven't really talked about too much is kind of the conditions that this is currently moving over. I mean, we're looking at 30 plus degrees Celsius waters all the way through until landfall, and then which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit for those living in the United States, and then what you're noticing after that is essentially. You're looking at OHC, and I'll actually pull this up on Hurricane Specific, SST maps for the EPAC. Yeah, as well. I'll pull up the University of Miami website for OHC and that for that region very quickly. Just give me 1 second. Let's see other basins. North Pacific OHC. This is here it is. this is what we're looking at right here. It's this is in an area of about 100 OHC right now, so that's concerning to say the very least. In terms of wind shear, if we F5 this, what wind shear? Pretty much. What wind shear?
Lack
guys?
thereof.
Yeah, there's like it's over 5 to 10 knots of wind shear. Like
I have
that's
a
not gonna
question. I
stop
know
this
this
thing at all. No wonder this thing blew up. And then with the water vapor imagery, taking a quick look at that, here's average water vapor right here.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it's quite moist. In terms of taking a look at water vapor RGB, yeah, it's in a very moist environment right here, folks. There's really nothing getting in this way until landfall, and that's the worst thing in the world. And Res Noble sent me this image right here in Tropical WX discussion. That is quite the image, to say the very least. Now, it is a little behind, but holy moly. That's what we're seeing tonight. Wow. And looking at the ring right now, things continue to escalate. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We do really appreciate the support. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather, so subscribe to the channel. We are actually 18 subs away from 12,000, so if we can hit that tonight, that would be really great.
That'd be
awesome.
really
awesome. That would be much appreciated. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're close to 12,000. But anyway, in the meantime, we are continuing our coverage of Hurricane Erick as it continues to move closer and closer and closer to land, and continues to intensify. And it looks like the ring is pretty much wrapped around again, and the minus 80 cloud tops are not too far behind it. So quite the crazy situation. So yeah.
Are you gonna be live tonight a lot?
I'm gonna be on for quite some time, probably till the next advisory, given all the latest data we are getting. So
okay, that's good, because if not, I was gonna go live myself. If you did not,
no, I'm going live. So yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm staying on the stream for a while.
I know this is a little bit more off topic, but when do you think we can get our first Atlantic storm? I'm thinking probably early in July.
We'll have to see. Well, for right now, that might be a topic from a different time.
A separate topic,
For a separate topic, but I will say I'm kind of leaning towards there given the latest stuff. But what is interesting is after Erick, the Eastern Pacific's going to shut down for a while. So
yeah, I know, I've seen that.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out and see how the Atlantic reacts to that. But we'll have to see what happens. I know someone was asking previously if Erick would cool the waters enough to potentially allow for more of a La Nina pattern to happen, or if it was too far east. It's actually too far to the north for that to happen, because basically the ENSO is near the equator off the coast of South America, and we're about a few hundred miles to the north of that. And this is to be honest, more mesoscale. As much as hurricanes are typically synoptic scale, but this is more of a mesoscale event because of just how small this system is. So ultimately, it doesn't appear right now that we're going to be seeing like this have any effect on that. It is going to cool the waters some in the Eastern Pacific, which has already been more unfavorable than favorable for development. But by and large, it's not going to affect the ENSO pattern. So thanks for asking that. I got to it, saw it earlier, didn't quite get to it until right about now, so I do apologize for that. But thanks for the question, though. It's really appreciative. So, yeah.
Wow, this hurricane. Ooh.
Yep. This hurricane continues to amaze me every.
Amaze.
Yep.
Yeah.
It continues to amaze me every step of the way.
Hey, it's the Eastern Pacific version of Barrel.
In a way, yes.
But not
I
as
mean-
bad. Not as bad. In a way.
In a way, yes.
Not as bad as Barrel.
No,
But still devastating impacts.
yeah, it's going to be devastating regardless. But by and large,
Yeah. So update on the positioning of this compared to what the targeted
yeah,
predicted track of this is. Yeah, it's almost the whole eye is almost out of the line of the track.
On
is
which
concerning.
side?
On
it's
going
wobble.
well, no, it's not a wobble because it's been going consistently for multiple frames at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
so
send that,
I've
Daniel?
seen that. Okay, no, that doesn't mean that is the single track. We saw this 2 times with Milton. Gotta wait about an hour more before.
I know.
playing
I
again.
know. Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, yeah, just quick.
Can you
quickly,
send that to
okay,
me?
quickly before
Or
we
on
move
the-
on. Alex Baller on my stream is saying, based on recent ensemble outputs, possibly another storm in the EPAC before it shuts down for a while. Chase asking how much shear is on the storm, 5 to 10 knots. And speaking of which, we're seeing 2 more areas of. We're seeing, yeah, the ring is finally wrapped around, and now we're seeing more convection starting to really fire off on the southern side over the last couple of frames. We're seeing a few -80 cloud tops that are starting to pop up here and there. Check live. No
Is it
violence,
me
you guys
or
wanna take a
has
quick
there?
look at that?
Okay. I have a
just sent
question,
it to you
Pat.
guys. But yeah, that's what's
Is it-
going on. So
Is it jogging a little southwest?
southwest.
Or like if you look really wait, south wait.
Don't you mean?
No, I think it's pushing north
Yeah,
a little bit now.
yeah.
You think it's
basically,
pushing
that's
north?
where we're at,
I
so-
might.
Go ahead, Daniel. Oh, Daniel. All right. Yeah, it's. Never mind that. All right. So, yeah, basically, I'm looking at this. Yeah, the eye looks like it's wobbled a little bit more to the west, but we'll see what happens going forward. But thanks for the heads up on that. So, yeah, crazy situation is continuing to unfold. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit with the infrared. Okay, this is 15 minutes ago. What the heck? This is 15 minutes ago. Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Yeah, all right. That's not quite it, but anyway, yeah. All right. Do you guys have any thoughts on kind of how this has been going? Hello? You guys there?
Thanks to the convection, but still.
All right.
Very robust. Is Pat still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, that was
Okay, making
that
sure.
was weird
Quiet.
for a second.
He's
That was
he's
weird.
analyzing.
I'm not liking the purple getting all wrapped around now. I mean, the full eyewall ring is really getting under way
there it
here.
is.
And I
we
mean,
got the latest shots. Oh, are you Weather Kingdom? Are
I
you seeing
know.
that burst on the southern
Wait.
side?
Yeah, I'm seeing
yeah,
that
I
too.
am with paints too.
Ooh.
If that
Thanks,
can
John.
all wrap
Yeah, that
around,
is a
I
problem.
think the eye will I think soon the eye, if that whole ring can turn into a full-on CD. Is it COD or no CDO?
CDO.
Right? Okay. If that can completely wrap around, and this looks to me, I don't see any other outer eye wall, but if that can burst on the southern side, like the northern side, I do think the eye wall replacement, if there is one,
It's done.
might be done. And I think we are in, if anything, I think rapid intensification is about to completely take off. And usually, after eye wall replacement cycles, intensification can actually be even faster. So if this does parallel the coast for multiple hours, I mean, the impacts are very devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Sorry, I was just sending something sending something over. But yeah, that is quite the escalation we have seen in the last hour. So that's okay. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yeah. But that's been quite the escalation we have been noticing. So just a crazy situation unfolding. I'm going to check satellite estimates, and yeah, they haven't changed just yet, but they likely will shortly, given what's going on. So, oh man. This would be a hey Yoshi, do we have any update on Recon and what kind of their status is? Because I would like to know. Yoshi? Okay. Yeah, anyway, Charlie is back. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. The line weakened, so thankful I did not lose power.
That is some good news. In the meantime, though, what you missed, we almost have a minus 80 cloud top pink pink loop around this around Erick. It's getting very close.
Oh man,
yeah, it's
that's unfortunate.
yeah, it's not optimal at all. So that's what we're going for. Taking a look at this. Looks like the eye's trying to clear out again, but we'll have to see. But man, that really just reinvigorated itself. Just quite dramatically. So we're going to have to pay attention to that. How many miles offshore? Let's see.
I'm going to measure that on Windy.
Yeah, if you could measure that for me, that would be I would appreciate, because I have to assume that's probably like, getting close to like 40 to 50 miles offshore right now, based on the estimates. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll have to pay attention.
See.
Yeah, because this
and it doesn't get it closer. Oh,
go ahead, Weather Kingdom.
Yeah. I did not even know you're back. You seen that southwest explosion, or I mean southeast?
Yeah, it just wrapped around, man.
And the eye is starting to clear again.
Yeah.
I think the eye wall replacement's done, and rapid intensification, and I think
I'm gonna check.
Is about to be underway again.
All right.
Hey, I'm just gonna tell everyone right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be active for I'm probably gonna drop from this call for the next 15 minutes.
Sure.
Because there is, I was talking about one of my friends in Canton earlier.
Yep.
Well, that severe thunderstorm warning I was talking about has turned into a tornado is also possible warning. So I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna make sure he's underground, make sure everything whatnot. I'm gonna be back as soon as I can, but I don't know.
All right.
Honestly.
Thanks for letting us know. We appreciate it. Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie,
yeah.
Did you get that measurement?
Yeah, it's approximately 50 miles offshore, because the coast is kind of like curvy. Okay. So I'd say like anywhere from 50 to 55 miles offshore, but mainly 50 miles.
Okay, so 50 miles offshore. What's the current speed of it according to the latest advisory? About 9 miles an hour. We're about 6 hours and change away from landfall at this current point. So
yeah, sorry about that, you guys. My internet was kicking the can, and I had to go for a minute.
That's fine.
I will probably stay muted for the rest of this stream, but I'll be trying to provide my insights on stuff
All right.
through text. If you saw my image, if it finally loaded,
Yeah.
that was what I was trying to show. And maybe it took so long, it's probably already out.
Sure. But thanks for letting us know. Man.
This is bad.
Very.
Anything new in terms of like intensification or otherwise?
The ring is the ring of convection is closed off completely, and we're looking at a situation where Dvorak, their satellite estimates, we're at 140 miles an hour right now, with a pressure of
I'm really mad
942
that
millibars.
Recon's not in.
What's up, Weather Kingdom?
Please say Recon comes back in, at least later tonight.
I hope they do, but it's not looking too pretty right now.
Okay, this is not good.
Yeah. Man,
What, the hurricane?
Very helpful if we had Recon, but
if we had Recon, I think right now we will be seeing some pretty interesting information.
oh, absolutely we would. Without question, we would.
Because right now we have no idea if it's strengthening or weakening.
I think it's not weakening. If anything,
it's not weakening.
Not even close to weakening. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the latest burst of convection around the whole Eyewall.
Nope. This is like this.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Is it staying at consistent strength or is it strengthening? There we go.
It's strengthening for sure. Like this,
it's
I think
structure
it's slowly
looks like a whole new storm compared to what we saw when we started the stream. Like this is a new ball game right now. That's how crazy this has evolved.
Something
What
happened.
is up with all these major hurricanes becoming like, changing themselves for the worst?
Well,
like I feel like this is becoming every hurricane now.
Well, they say nothing ever happens except the WX community says otherwise.
Yep.
Oh my God, the ring.
Yep.
Oh, that ring is killing me.
I think actually saying a blessing for the WX community.
Yeah, but it's a whole new, whole new system, whole new storm, folks. So, yep. Like, I mean, if we start back at the start of the stream, I mean, just looking at it, back on my end, a little bit. Let me change this to 1080p.
Oh wait, I want to look at the lightning quickly.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Look at lightning real quick. Eviz. Still there, but I'll have to take a quick gander at it eventually, but it's just been a crazy situation that's been going on. So, but already it's almost 10 o'clock Eastern. It's almost 9 o'clock Eastern. We have an hour away for the latest advisory. What do you guys think the NHC is? Let's go ahead and start with our early, projections. What do we think the NHC is going to go with at this rate?
125.
125?
I'm thinking 125. If this eye completely clears out, and I mean, it gives the full-on version of a Category 4, maybe they push it, but with Recon not going back into it, I just don't think they're going to pull the trigger.
I'd say, I don't think they're going to pull the trigger. I'd say maybe 130. That's my prediction, 130. But probably nothing higher. But if DeVore, it could be really, if we don't have Recon, anything could. It's a different story. Without Recon, we could go with a lot of different things here. What was Dvorak saying? Like 140?
140. 140.
I don't think it is.
NHC.
I don't think the winds have
from
reached
what I've
the surface.
seen, NHC typically goes about 5 to 10 miles under what Dvorak says.
All right. Anyway, Preston Howe, wasn't this going through an Eyewall replacement cycle? From what I've seen, it's basically said no to the Eyewall replacement cycle. It already completed it, it looks like, and the eyes continue to clear out as well.
This was one of the fastest Eyewall replacement cycles I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the fastest. I've never seen
something
something
in like
this fast.
6 hours at this point.
Not even.
When did it
That felt
start?
like
I've seen-
a 6
I've
hour
seen
show.
some
That's not
pretty
even 6
fast
hours.
ones.
That felt like probably
Yeah.
3 hours, maybe more of it.
Like, I remember
Still,
barrels.
that felt like
that
15
took
minutes.
about 6-ish hours for it to complete. That was the fastest.
Erick seemed faster than barrels, so we were probably looking at maybe like somewhere in the 3 to 6 hour range
Yeah.
for that Eyewall placement cycle.
Yeah, I've been watching it live. It's been absolutely crazy. It's been absolutely crazy tracking this too and streaming this as well. It's unbelievable what the kind of returns we are getting with this. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we do appreciate the support. Wow, this has just been
Kinda
a
depends.
crazy night, ladies and gentlemen.
Even if it was actually more like maybe 6 hours of an Eyewall replacement cycle, that whole session felt like 15 minutes. Didn't feel like that long. It felt like I went to the bathroom and then I came back and then the Eyewall replacement cycle was begun. And it was,
yeah, I mean,
like,
we've been
are we
streaming
serious
for
right now?
2 hours now, and it's felt like 30 minutes for me. That's
I
Has
agree.
it really been 2 hours?
yeah. It's
This
since I
is
started
interesting.
streaming.
Pat, I think you've seen it. Alex, Buscaster, and the tropical weather
Let me
X
see
discussion.
what's going on.
You seen his post at around like 9:40. He said likely
Adler.
a category 4
Austin
soon.
Adler. Andrew Austin
Wait.
Adler. Land friction caused the outer eye wall to collapse. Inner is spamming hot vorticity towers. Whoa, that's
interesting.
that. It basically
That would
just.
explain it though.
I'm gonna use. I know.
Kind of.
I know. Res Noble said some language earlier, but I'm gonna use the one curse word I'm allowed to right now. If that's okay with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, apologies
Basically,
for my little
Erick
loud
said,
mouth there.
fuck
I won't-
you to the Eyewall replacement cycle, and now it's just going off. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Even
It's using-
so, yeah,
It's
outer
using
eye
the
wall
algorithmic
collapse.
disadvantage,
I feel
and
like-
it's using
yeah.
Mexico's terrain to cancel its Eyewall
Yep.
replacement cycle and go crazy with the VHTs.
Yep.
I feel like we've said this so many times with other major hurricanes. I feel like a lot of hurricanes, said that same word too.
Access denied.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, that's
Oh
just
my.
that's just crazy how this has
I
panned
don't know.
out.
Would you
man.
consider it a slide cancel or just a straight cancel?
Slide cancel. What we in
Slide
Call of
into the
Duty?
Eyewall replacement cycle and then cancel
Yeah.
it.
Man.
Eric said, I'm tired of being bully, and just said, screw it.
Yep. I mean, it looks like the eye
Slide canceling. Hmm.
Perfect timing as well. Man, what a night it has been. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Robotic.
To be free language, I naturally have a loud mouth. I probably
Yeah.
control
Dark
myself.
Steve said it best. Eric said nah to it. Oh yeah. It said nah and then some.
Nuh-uh. Uh-huh.
You took everything from no.
But just even though I've been doing this now, I've been streaming stuff like this since 2023 regularly. Even though I've been doing this for quite a while and I've seen so many systems like this, this still takes the cake, and it still amazes me on how it's been doing. Ladies and gentlemen,
This
it
feels
is
like this would
currently
happen
9
sometime in like late
p.m.
August,
Central
not in
Time,
June.
10 p.m. Eastern Time. We are officially 1 hour away from the advisory that is coming out from the
advisory
NHC.
that can determine how much of a Eric wants to say to this
the
situation.
advisory that can make or break our expectations and make or break a lot of buildings in along the Pacific coast of Mexico, west of the Gulf of Tehuantepec. Basically, that's the situation we are looking at right now. So,
Eric read about Hannibal's crossing of the Alps and felt inspired.
As much as I'd normally give some leeway for stuff saying like that, considering this a landfalling situation, got to keep it a little more professional. But I do like the jokes.
That was a geographic reference
That's
to the
I know.
mountains
That's
and
fair.
canceling its
Oh,
eyewall
oh,
replacement
okay, I
cycle
get the
and
joke. My
spamming the
bad.
hot towers.
bad.
That was what I was trying to get
Oh,
there.
my bad. I apologies. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway. Oh man. But yeah. Everyone in the chat, how are you guys doing? You guys doing pretty good? We're gonna be streaming here for
Is
some more time
Daniel
until the
still? Yeah,
advisory
Daniel.
comes out. So be sure you stick around, like the stream,
Oh my
subscribe to the
goodness,
channel. if
DI.
you're
Daniel,
new.
was I
Goal, as
seriously hot
always, is
mics
to get more
earlier?
people engaged with weather.
I thought it was muted
Yeah, that-
for like at least
Yeah,
15
you did.
minutes.
Yeah, you were hot micing hard.
Yep.
What was I talking about? Quiz time. What was I talking about?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know.
The headphone that I had in died, and then I immediately
I'm
put in
gonna
my new
go.
one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'll be back in like 5 to 10 minutes.
All right, Weather Kingdom. We'll see you
Sounds
in a second.
good.
All right.
Godspeed.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, Daniel, based on everything you've seen, what are your thoughts so far?
Pat cutting out is classic.
I'm cutting out?
Slightly.
Okay. Well, how are you doing, Daniel? Well, how are you doing, number one?
Well,
and what are your thoughts on this situation?
Well, I'm just sitting here in an airplane and having a great time.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Because of course I am.
But yeah, what are your thoughts
With like
on,
20 other planes on a runway.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on? Okay, I keep refreshing my stream page. I'm trying to refresh the stuff over here. Okay. Oh,
Get your act together.
Yeah, Daniel, the eye's really clearing out now. Are you seeing? You might want to take a look at satellite.
I have satellite pulled up on my screen share.
Yeah, it's clearing out pretty quickly. Wow. That is something you're going to want to watch. Especially as the system continues to evolve. Okay.
So, Pat.
Yes?
Based off current trajectory, this thing is just going to fully sideswipe the coast. You know when it's supposed to go inland, like actually make landfall on the official track?
When?
At the current rate where it is, like on the official NHC track, it's supposed to be, you know, probably, well, quote unquote around 8 a.m. It's now south of that track, so it might briefly make a partial landfall. Well, technically a landfall, but it will still be majorly over water.
All right.
And then go right back over water briefly again, and then make landfall.
So it's going to sideswipe the coast pretty much at this rate.
And it might keep going west, and that might have worse things for people further down the coastline.
Yeah. Okay, what's Dvorak going for? Okay, they haven't updated too much just
Yeah, yeah, I'm like refreshing the Dvorak page.
They did actually update it a little bit. According to them, pressure's down to 939. According to their estimates, their winds have
939.
Yeah, 939.6. Their
God.
Vmax is 122.2 knots, which that's more than 140. That's
100.
that's about it's more than 140 miles per hour for sure at that current point. Just needs a few more knots to get up to 145. And its final T adjusted is 6.3, adjusted is 6.4, so it's all catching up very fast. So that's going to be one of the defining moments right here. We're going to have to watch. Yeah, 939 is very low, especially for a small system like this as well. You have to understand, this is like the tropical storm force winds only go out 90 miles from the center. So that's pretty small. That's pretty small for. It's pretty low for such a small system, right there. For it to be a officially a Cat 3, so we'll have to see how this pans out. But by and large, a lot of crazy stuff is going on. Yeah,
I think the National Hurricane Center will go either 125 or 130 for the maximum sustained winds.
Yeah, I think that the way this is going, I think they're going to go 130, especially if Dvorak continues to increase its intensity. And the eye is continuing to clear out too, more so by the minute. Yep. Daniel, you were right. The eye got a bit smaller. Okay, someone's messaging me in Tropical WX.
Bit smaller and a bit more defined now because it's definitely clearing now.
1000%. That's a fact. That is a very definitive fact right there. All right. Oof.
Getting tired yet, Pat?
A little bit, but part of it's because I've been up since 4:30 in the morning.
Well, that will do it.
Yeah. Man. What? Like, Daniel, this was a completely different storm to what we started
24 hours ago.
Night. This is
24 hours ago, this was so weak.
I mean, 2 hours ago, this was a completely different ball game. Like, we have a new ball game right now.
Gonna take a little bit farther. I'd say even 1 hour ago, this was a completely different ball game. We were talking about this potentially,
without a doubt,
potentially stalling out. Now that's completely changed.
Yeah, it's shifting nearly due west at this point. It's still heading towards land.
Okay,
but...
so that's gonna delay. That's gonna delay landfall Any time that it moves to the west, it's gonna delay landfall tremendously.
Yeah, it's before we were thinking, okay, may make landfall by like midnight at this rate. Now it's gonna
it's probably be sometime tomorrow morning, maybe.
Now it's gonna make landfall potentially tomorrow morning. What a shift in the track that this has caused! Wow, it's just been an unbelievable night.
Pat, look on my screen share. I have like water vapor and the satellite loop pulled up on radar Omega.
All right, let me go ahead and take.
Well, the infrared satellite loop at least.
Yep. This is just, yep, this is moving further and further away from the cone right here. So,
well, from the center of the cone, at least, yes.
That's for sure.
And it's definitely clearing out in there.
Oh, easily.
Definitely getting a lot less ragged and a lot more circularized. Still a little oval shape, but we've seen rapidly intensifying storms in an oval shape eye, and actually this is a lot better than it was before.
Sure.
I do want to say, so on windy, the eye, so for its latest thing, the eye is negative 44 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a little out of date, though.
Yeah. Daniel, do you have
0 minutes
on
ago.
Radar Omega, like on that satellite, on what the temperatures are looking like?
I don't think so necessarily. I don't necessarily know if it can tell me here.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
No, it doesn't.
Just thought I'd ask very quickly.
Nope.
No, that's winds.
I mean, like, that's winds. Half of this I still don't.
All right.
Okay, there's a new frame.
Just the fact
Beautiful.
that it continues to clear out is so crazy. Just unbelievable. I mean, even on tropical tidbits, it's starting to blow up quite a bit.
This storm is the type of behavior that I would expect from something maybe in like late August, but definitely not mid-June.
Oh!
This is a very
interesting.
I'd say very interesting situation that we're enduring right now.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, take a look at Live No Mic, guys. You're going to want to look at this latest radar scan I got from Dapia. Just like what Daniel was saying. That
I may not have access to Live No Mic.
Fast, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh.
How big is the eye looking in terms of diameter?
Yeah. Daniel,
or radius, either one works.
Can you check that for me, please?
I mean, it's going to be a little hard to tell.
I forget if Pinhole does it by either a 10-mile diameter or a 10-mile radius. If someone can,
I mean,
fact
I mean
check
the
that,
only
thank you.
real good thing I
Thermal
have
diameter,
to
thank you very
measure,
much.
Yeah.
like across. Let's see. I'm gonna just use Zoomer, which can give you a rough estimate over here.
Yeah.
I haven't refreshed much on
That is just unbelievable.
eyes recently. Are pinhole eyes typically more common in smaller storms, or is
Yes.
it just generally a super rare occurrence?
Like 7 miles wide. We're looking at.
Oh wow.
7 mile wide eyes.
Yep.
That's small.
Yeah.
That
But
is-
that's
I
also
think Milton's may have
based
been a
off of-
tiny bit smaller,
But I
Go ahead,
think
Daniel.
so.
if not.
Was
It may
that?
have been the exact same size as Milton's, if not maybe a little bit bigger.
I think Milton was a 5 mile at one point.
It was actually.
Maybe. Yeah, definitely at one point it was really tiny.
Oh yeah.
I forget if it was exactly that or if it was even smaller than that, because at one point it was so at one point it was so small that that's what collapsed the whole eyewall.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
It
Milton
probably
was
got
very-
down to 1
Milton
mile
was very
at one
inconsistent
point.
with its eye structure, especially
Yeah,
after
I
the
remember, it
eyewall
was a very
placement cycle. It
volatile
changed
structure, like I
everything
said
really fast.
previously.
Kept shrinking and coming back, and then completely disappeared for a while, and then came back towards landfall.
Yep.
And then it replaced the eyewall when it got super big, as well as the storm itself. That will still be a good storm. That will be a storm to remember for a generation. Probably I feel like the whole premise of it moving east, basically the entire way, despite being relatively low in latitude,
Yeah.
caused a bunch of the hysteria behind the storm because of its unnatural movement. And then once it turned into a monster, that's when everyone started freaking out.
Yep. I remember that. But basically,
I remember seeing that first cone, and I already knew something bad was going to happen.
yeah, just the fact that it exploded the way it did was just insane. Yeah. Yeah, Milton's Eye was 4 miles
I still think
under its
going
first
east
peak. Yeah.
was
That was one of the biggest pinholes I had ever seen.
So right now we're about, give or take, around 100 miles away from landfall on this current trajectory.
That's about 11 hours away from landfall. So about 8
Yep.
o'clock in the morning, my time, 9 o'clock.
How fast is this moving right now?
9 miles an hour.
Each little wobble makes it slow down a little on the north.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's definitely made
that might
turn.
push. That might push a
Ladies
little bit
and
more.
gentlemen, Peter Moss is back. He gave us a $5 donation. Milton's Eye was at one point actually smaller than the El Reno tornado and not far off from tornado intensity. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Moss is back with the $5 donation. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. But, wow. The legend is back. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for coming back. We really appreciate you coming back. Wow. But yeah.
Hey,
Hey, Weather Kingdom.
any update? Anything new?
Well, two new things. Number one, we got a $5 donation from Peter Moss. And number
All
two.
right, thank you. That's awesome.
Yep. And number two, the eye is...
We're petrified.
Yeah, the eye is really cleared out quite a bit since you've left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like let me show you. Like, did you see live no mic? Go check it out. Actually, I'll send you another photo right now. Copy image. Live no mic.
Just to show everyone, the average eye temperature over the last 6 hours was somewhere between negative 26
Oh, wow.
and negative 40.
Yeah.
It has reached down
Wow.
to negative 14 as of the latest frame.
What?
Wow.
That's insane.
What did I miss?
A lot. Clearly.
Wow.
What are you guys talking? What are you guys sighing about?
10 minutes and
I'm just in amusement.
So
I'm just reading
maybe they
something
go
here, and
140.
apparently-
I mean 130.
Hold
I
on.
mean 130. My bad.
Oh yeah, this is.
How's the movement? Is it still moving that like westward movement? I would say so, right?
Yeah, this has been quite the.
Guys, just looking live, no mic, and this is my honest reaction of the storm's movement right now.
I'm not showing that. Nope.
I know
Not
you
happening.
shouldn't, but
Not happening.
it's not happening. I know
Yeah.
that's not happening.
Yep. Anyway, yeah. This eye continues
Storm is
to
in
clear out.
fact not moving fast enough, though.
Yeah, this eye continues to clear out quite a bit, and we're gonna want to pay more attention to
Wow.
it. When is the stream ending? Not for a little while. That's all I'm gonna say. Not for a while.
I mean,
Thanks for asking.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yep. Not for quite some time, or at least until after the next advisory, and then we'll go from there. So, thanks for asking, though. We appreciate it. But, wow. Just, Weather Kingdom. Since you left, this has become a new ball game, pretty much.
I see.
It's unbelievable what's going on.
Classic major hurricane fun here. What hurricanes love to do is
Yeah. That sums it
love
up.
to throw fastballs,
Yep.
no matter what.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. Let me take a quick look.
This movement is it's paralleling the coast.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask this one more time. Where is the aircraft reconnaissance in this? Because we would love this. I should
Left.
say, Michelle Howard,
It's
returning back to the
Assistant.
United
I'll
States.
stay here till after the 11 p.m. advisory. Yes, please do, because we're going to be dissecting that, and we're going to be going over all of it as we continue to monitor the situation. So, yeah. Next
answer your question,
advisory is
Pat,
11 p.m.
though.
advisory, David Lee. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But man, we need I would love to see some recon in this. I'd love to see the data come
We have
back on
no
this.
recon right now. The recon we saw is going back to the United States for some unknown reason.
Okay. Well,
But I will tell you that doesn't mean that recon data won't go into the advisory. It's just that it's not public.
all right.
NHC, from what I'm hearing, National Hurricane Center did get the recon data.
That
They have their
sucks.
own transmissions, just that it didn't go to the public.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Why?
Great question.
Yep.
We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they did go through a second pass.
We don't
Probably.
know. We don't know.
No, it didn't have enough time to go for a second pass.
That sucks.
Uh,
It is what it is, though. Just Ashton, thank you for keeping everyone informed. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. We appreciate you guys for coming on. It really warms my heart to see so many people here. So, yep.
Don't let that eye warm up too much, though.
No. All right. Okay. Hey Yoshi, can you confirm or deny this for me? Someone in chat said I heard they could not go into the eye because of hail. Don't know if that was true. If it were hailing,
No, there are
they
no
would be able to
reports of
handle that. They would be able to handle that.
There's no reports of that.
okay, I
That
was
is
gonna say-
completely unconfirmed, and that should not be taken seriously.
I mean, it's I was about to say the only instance I can recall of that happening was Hurricane Felix back in 2007. And that was a 175 mile per hour category 5. We're looking at the cusp of a Cat 4 right now at this point. So
Yeah, it's very I've never heard of really in the time that I've been tracking hurricanes of hail forming in these things that much.
I remember James Pettis on Twitter was talking about hail and Hurricane Francine.
yeah.
Look, until I say otherwise, or someone else in this group says otherwise, if we hear of any reports, if the chat hears any reports of like a reason why Recon left, other than speculation, then we won't take it seriously.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I just figured I'd throw it over to you just in case you heard anything about that. So.
Yeah, no, there's no reports about.
All right, thanks. I appreciate you for verifying that. All right, but
So it's still moving west. So I'm getting reports too from other people and other chats.
all right.
They're saying that this is kind of moving in that west northwest movement right now.
Oh yeah.
If it's a that's not good because right now with that west northwest movement, it's just paralleling the coast where it's at.
Yeah.
And with the way the geography of Mexico is and in the position it is, it right now it's just paralleling and staying 50 miles or so off the coast and just riding the coastline
Yep.
and staying in the waters.
Yep. That's for
So right
sure.
now you got significant storm surge, you got damaging winds in the shoreline. Depends how big is the wind field? I haven't really looked.
Tropical storm force winds are 90 miles away out from the center. Hurricane force winds 25 miles.
Hurricane force is 25.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
still offshore.
Actually, okay, still offshore, but we got very strong tropical storm force winds along the coastline
Yep.
right now, and
That's
probably
for sure.
tropical storm conditions.
Yep.
Latest, I mean, loop of the satellite just keeps looking better and better, and more convection just keeps wrapping around, and those pinks, and this really reminds me of some other category 4 hurricanes we had in like last year.
Yep. Many. Yeah, there's many I can even recall, but we'll have to see how this pans out. Anyway, yeah, quite the crazy situation that we've had here. All right, but yeah. All right, it's 9:24. Advisory's coming out about 30 to 35 minutes from now. Any changes in what we're potentially going to be seeing? Or are we still
No, honestly, I mean,
up?
I think 125. 125.
You're holding at 125.
That's what I'm going to stick with.
I'm personally thinking they're going to go to
Eh.
130.
You
But
think that'll be a top 4?
I think it will be, mainly because of satellite estimates, the presentation on satellite, and the fact that, we're
Can I say something today? It's pretty off topic.
Yeah. Peter Moss is
It's
thinking
about the
130 to
severe weather.
135. They don't do 135 anymore, but we appreciate we appreciate you tuning in and giving us an idea. So,
Have you guys seen the storm reports for today's severe weather outbreak?
yeah, I've seen some of them
in the Northeast. Yeah, there's been a massive wind outbreak with even in Ohio with 80-mile-an-hour reports, 70. Not a derecho, but a very strong wind line is currently about to go through western parts of Pennsylvania, and tomorrow they do expect another line to form, but a very impressive severe weather outbreak. They had to enhance,
That's
and
for
honestly,
sure.
I think they should have actually probably went moderate. I think from yesterday's moderate to today's enhance, there's way more damage reports.
Yeah, that's for sure.
In the enhance.
Yeah, I've been watching it too.
Sorry for getting off topic, but
yeah, don't worry about it.
I just wanted to talk.
Don't worry about it. Charlie was also impacted by it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's probably the best thing to talk about because honestly, it's another thing that's also affecting many people right now.
That is true. That is true, and that is true that we kind of are paying attention to that just a little bit as well. But yeah, I've been kind of
whenever it comes the most convenient.
Yeah,
I would say.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're getting
Like right now it's like we're just waiting for the update so we can kind of
yeah, we're just doing
keep an eye on that severe front.
Yeah, we're just doing satellite analysis, and we're just looking, and we're just constantly refreshing Dvorak to see if they do anything.
Yes.
I will.
You know what? I'll keep an eye on the severe weather while you guys do that. So keep
Okay,
out for
thank you.
anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure, but basically, yeah, we're getting some more people tuning in the chat. I think, yeah, as the 10 p.m. advisory is glooming in near, we're seeing more people starting to tune in. We're already up to 71 concurrent viewers. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. So we would really appreciate it if you did that. But yeah, basically, we're just at this point waiting for the advisory. We're looking at satellite analysis. There's not much we can do until that advisory comes out to dissect, because right now the main thing we are paying attention to is essentially, we don't have recon to glue at. They had to leave. We don't have much other than satellites. We have a few things we can play with, of course, along with imagery and all of that, but we can't do much more beyond the analysis. And then there's also the fact that, we're looking at the satellite estimates with Dvorak, and they haven't been don't update like on a very like F5 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 basis. Like every time I refresh the page, there's no change with it. But ultimately, you're kind of watching how this is panning out, and you're starting to see more and more of these upticks and more of these increases in intensity right here. I do notice some people in chat that are kind of commenting what they think the intensity will be. Some estimates: Peter Moss 130 to 135, Dark Steve 130 to 140, Tanya Belcher 130 to 145, Felix the Cat 130 to 145 as well. We'll have to see how that pans out right there. Personally, I'm leaning towards 130, but that's where I'm at. What do you guys got?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna get a little something to eat.
Yeah, go eat something.
I would be back. I'll come back right before the 11 o'clock update.
All right, all right. We'll be here for that. But yeah,
hopefully things don't go too crazy.
They shouldn't. Yeah, but yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yep, but we are now just 30 minutes away from the official advisory. There may be a possibility where it might come out sooner. You never know. But we are just 30 minutes away. We're seeing some more people tuning in tuning in as we continue to monitor the situation. Up to 77 concurrent viewers. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting time dissecting the latest NHC advisory as it continues to come in. So, yeah. Man. Things are getting pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Yeah, Charlie, how have you been doing?
I've been good. I'm just like spamming the refresh button on.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. What are your thoughts on everything we've seen so far? Before we get the advisory,
I definitely agree. It's intensifying and it's clearing, because also on Windy has the eye at negative 17 Celsius.
Yeah.
So definitely warming and wrapping around. I still am sticking with that for the Natural Hurricane Center advisory, 125 to 130 intensity.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see how this pans out. I'm starting to get a little bit more cloud cover in it. That's kind of going to fluctuate up and down for quite a bit. So
yeah,
we'll have to pay attention to see what happens with that. But yeah, it's pretty much what we got going on. Kind of trying to think a little bit right here. I want to take a quick look at visible satellites, see if we can kind of track this a little bit. I know it's going to be a little hard to do because it's nighttime and all of that, but hopefully we can take hopefully we can take a quick look at that. Mindy is asking which direction it's moving. Generally west-northwest. It was pivoting more towards the north earlier today. Now it's shifted more. It's really swung more toward the west-northwest. I cleared out for a bit. Now it's starting to retract a little bit, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's moving generally to the west-northwest. So thank you for asking that. We appreciate that. As we continue to see more and more convection flare up across this hurricane as well. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. Okay, the eye's starting to clear out a bit more, trying to get itself a bit more circular. But yeah, thank you for the question, Mindy. We appreciate that. So, yep, a little less than 30 minutes away
I'm
now.
gonna
What do
I'm
we
gonna
got?
look at the steering curtains. Currents. I'm gonna look at the steering currents.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Felix the Cat's been a fan for 2 years. Well, thank you for coming back to the dreams, man. Thanks for supporting me through it thick and thin. We appreciate that support around here. Is it rapidly intensifying? Very much so it is. Rapidly intensifying. Thank you very much for the question. In fact, we can actually do a quick rundown as to what happened while we're waiting for this advisory. So, at 10 o'clock last night, this was a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm with a pressure of 998 millibars, and it was moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. Now, 24 hours later, almost, like 21 hours later, we're double the intensity. We're a 120 Category 3 hurricane, pressure of 953 millibars, so on average, that's about a 2 and change millibar drop per hour, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. It's now moving at 9 miles per hour to the northwest, which is becoming a bit more west-northwest as it's jogging. Evan Yard, most likely a low on Category 4 as of now. I'm thinking so personally as well, but whatever the NHC decides to do, their choice. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Last night, you could tell by its structure that it would rapidly intensify. Oh boy, it did. Oh boy, it did. I remember looking at it last night. I was like, yeah, we're going to be waking up to a pretty explosive situation coming up. So, yeah, that's kind of what we were dealing with. Matter of fact, we can actually go back to about 144 frames just to show you what it looked like at this point last night. It was pretty much this structure right here that was starting to organize and develop right here. I've been watching a stream for like 2 hours. Well, thank you. We really appreciate your support, Felix. It's so good to see such a dedicated fan coming onto the show and supporting us. You started seeing this convection happen. Then around 10 o'clock at my time at night, 11 o'clock, you saw multiple areas of convection just fire up all at once right here and just completely overtake a lot of the core of it by 2 o'clock in the morning. And then it started organizing and developing. And by the time I woke up, which was about this time, it was a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm. And then it continued to organize and develop right here. It got up to hurricane strength by 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then it just continued to do that. Its structure continued to improve right here. This is just the rate of it intensifying. Started to build an eyewall structure to it as well. Taking a quick gander at this right here as we move through the timeline right here. You started to notice that eye starting to form out in the afternoon, and then it started to really consolidate. It did undergo its eyewall replacement cycle earlier, but then over the last few hours, it's really been blowing up with convection. Like, this is where we were at when we started the stream tonight. This is where we're at right now, and as you can see, this is a completely new ball game. This is a completely new ball game that we have been seeing over the last little while. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. That's just kind of what we've been seeing over the last 24 hours. Like, even from the stream tonight, we've seen a completely new storm from what we were seeing previously. It's just incredible how much it's changed and how much it's blown up over the last little while. That is just unbelievable. Felix saying, I watch your daily tropical updates. Thank you very much. It makes my day. I really appreciate you for tuning in to my videos. It really helps me out quite a bit. But Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are now awaiting the update, the advisory that we've been waiting for. Let's take a quick look at Dvorak. Hey guys, if you're listening to this, Dvorak updated their estimates. Their adjusted. Okay, let's go ahead and start with this. Their CI is 6.4, pressure of 937.5 millibars, Vmax at 124.6 knots. That is 145 miles per hour according to Dvorak. Its final T is 6.4. Adjusted T number 6.8. Raw T number is 6.9. And if you don't know what 6.8 is, that is closing in at about 135 knots. I believe, because 7 is 140 knots. Yeah, that sounds about right. 135 knots according to the adjusted number. That's 155 miles per hour. Now, again, pure speculation, but Dvorak really dropped a massive.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did I just hear
update.
something about 135 knots?
According to Dvorak. According to Dvorak's adjusted number, their final number is about 124 knots. So about 10 knots below that. So, yeah. That's our situation that we have right now.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a massive drop we did not want to see. Like, you don't want to, like, I mean, as soon as we saw this convection just wrap around, I mean, it was very likely that we were going to see this, this whole situation where we would have this really just start to ramp up, like, once everything started wrapping around. But I did not expect it to go like this much and drop this hard.
Yeah.
That is deeply concerning to me. Wow. And it looks like the eye's gotten a little smaller too. I am very nervous for this update. And it's currently 20 minutes away.
Okay. This is starting to worry me a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Or not a bit. Heavily.
Yeah. Wow. We'll see what happens.
A friend too far from the hurricane zone. He already knows.
What's up? Oh, you're kind of bugging out a bit.
I have a friend who lives not too far from that zone, the hurricane warning area. He already knows. He's, I think, in Mazatlan. He's still probably going up further north. He's in Mazatlan right now, though.
All right.
As far as I know, he was in Acapulco for the week, and he's going back up.
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, we're not getting any more recon with this, so we're solely relying on satellite estimates at this current point, which sucks, but it is what it is. So
I do think that I'm gonna pull up a weather nerds, but would scatterometer work, or would that be like corrupted to like the high wind speeds?
I don't know what scatterometer would do, honestly, but if you want to give it a go, you can. Alrighty, we have over 70 concurrent viewers right now. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new as we look at this advisory. Goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. So, yeah, 20 minutes away from the advisory. We're waiting. We're waiting to see what happens. Keep you updated as things continue to go on. We got a big update from the Dvorak numbers where the adjusted and the raw numbers spiked and the final number went up a bit. Yeah, and the Vmax went up to about 145 miles an hour. So that's quite the situation, ladies and gentlemen. Only time will tell what happens and how the NHC will update this. But at this point, I think we can say that a Cat 4 is more likely than not based on these latest returns.
I agree.
Yeah, I hate saying that, but that's what I'm thinking. Now, I will say this, though. I am a bit hesitant to go with the very aggressive satellite numbers of like anything more than 130 knots. I'm a little hesitant to jump on that gun for a few reasons, mainly because those are like not the final number, and those are just like adjusted and all of that. But what I will say is, okay, we're good. Oh, okay, we're good. But all right. So, but yeah, that's the situation we're dealing with. And all I can say is whatever the NHC decides to do, their choice. I'm okay with whatever they decide to do at this current point. If they go 125, clearly they're a little hesitant to find more data. That's okay with me. If they go a bit more aggressive, like 140, their choice. 130, their choice. That's kind of the theme for tonight. Just waiting to see what happens. So, how likely is a Cat 5? Still unlikely, in my opinion, but those odds may have increased a little bit based on what we just saw. And I hate saying that. I hate being the bearer of bad news. But those odds have increased a little bit. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for asking. Okay. Yeah, Evan Yard was asking, do I think the small size contribute to the rapid intensification? Oh, absolutely it did. Without a doubt, it did. Yeah, there's no question that it did. Man, quite the scenario that we're dealing with. Well, how are you guys feeling about this upcoming update?
I'm nervous.
Daniel, how are you feeling based on everything you just heard? They updated it. Oh, they went up to 125.
Okay.
Okay. Pressure down to 950.
Hmm.
Huh.
That's interesting. That's very off from Dvorak.
Yeah. Okay, maximum sustained winds increased to 125. Some additional strengthening is expected at landfall. Hurricane force winds extend outward, still 25 miles from the center. And minimum central pressure is 950 millibars. So it did drop down to 950. Look at the discussion. All right. Erick's rapid intensification has continued through 18/23Z. As an Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft found at the time reported that the central pressure has fallen to 953 millibars. However, since that time, the satellite appearance of the hurricane went through a period when it was a little degraded, suggesting that an intensification rate may have slowed. This may be due to an attempted Eyewall replacement cycle, as aircraft data suggested that concentric wind maxima during its pass through the center. The intensity is a little uncertain, as the plane had to abort due to computer problems before it could probe the northeastern eyewall. Based on the current central pressure, the observed wind structure, and the various satellite intensity estimates, initial intensity is set to a possibly conservative 110 knots. Keep in mind, for those freaking out in chat, this is a conservative estimate. They're being conservative because they're looking at all the returns and looking at all the data. I mean, Dvorak absolutely exploded with their numbers. Their adjusted was at around 135 knots. That seems a bit outlandish. Their final Dvorak, though, was cracking. Yeah, their final Dvorak was cracking 145 miles an hour. I think the reason the NHC went with this was because there was a lot of uncertainty with how this was going, and I don't think
Also, recon aborted, so
yeah, recon also
they
had
don't
to
have
abort
all
due
the
to
data.
computer problems. So that also.
So I was
did
basically
help.
hitting it on the money right there with what was happening.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Weather Kingdom. Latest advisory came in.
Did you guys
called
hear
it,
me
buddy.
before or no?
You called it, buddy. You called
Let me
it.
guess, 125.
Yep, it's 125.
I told you.
Yeah, a lot of people are not very happy about that.
Why?
Mainly because Weather Kingdom, while you were
You would-
gone, satellite estimates absolutely exploded. Like Dvorak went up to 145 miles an hour with its estimate.
I doubt that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought that was a little interesting. I was thinking they were going to, yeah, I thought they were going to go 130 personally. The NHC, yeah, people in chat are not too happy about this. Look, the NHC is doing their job. I think they just had a lot of things to unscramble, so I think that's part of the reason. But here's what we have going on. This is the continued part of the discussion. The initial motion estimate is northward at 320 degrees at 8 knots, so 9 miles an hour.
Northward, it is not going
northwestward. My apologies. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired.
I know, but I feel like it's going more of that west-northwest.
Yeah, it's going northwestward according to the NHC. This state of motion will bring the center to the Mexican coast in the state of Oaxaca within the next 12 hours, with a subsequent northwestward motion bringing the system further inland over southern Mexico on Thursday and Thursday night. It's essentially the same as the previous advisory. Conditions continue to be favorable for strengthening, and it's possible that Erick could get stronger before landfall if the possible Eyewall replacement cycle completes. The Eyewall replacement cycle, as we looked at, is gone. It's pretty much gone. Regardless of additional intensification, rapid weakening is expected after landfall, and Erick is expected to dissipate over southern Mexico Thursday night or Friday. So that's the situation that we have going on right now with Erick. So for everyone in chat that was being a little upset with what the NHC was doing, you have to understand that they were getting a lot of conflicted data, and the hurricane reconnaissance that they did send out had to leave before they could sample the northeastern eyewall, which is unfortunate, but it had to. So that's kind of the situation we had at hand. So that's why. They went conservatively. In fact, even the NHC admits it, that it's a possibly conservative 110 knots. I can understand why they're doing this. Like, this is an understandable call for me, and because I'm going through this and I'm thinking, yeah, I see where they're coming from with this, and I think that the NHC was getting a lot of conflicted data, and I think ultimately, I mean, in my opinion, I think they made the call they made. Personally, I would have gone 130, but that's just my personal opinion. So take it as you will. But that's kind of why they did that, because there was a lot of uncertainty regarding what exactly was going on. So, yeah, Kenny Brown made it perfect point. We should stop worrying about the categories and wind speeds and focus on the impacts it will have. That's another point I would like to make. Let's not focus so much on the intensity and more on the impacts with this system. In fact, we can go ahead and show you the graphics. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cone. It's going to be making landfall pretty soon. Like, that's a given. It's going to happen pretty shortly. So that's the situation we're dealing with. And ultimately, it's going to be very bad. In fact, rain. Look at the amount of rain this is going to pour on so many people. This is going to cause a lot of mudslides. This is not an ideal situation for a lot of people. So, yeah, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Here's the key messages that we have pulled up for you right there. Yeah, Alex Baller, perfect point. Regardless, it is a destructive storm, but I do not agree with the NHC respectively. In my opinion, I would have said to 130 considering recon wasn't available to sample. Going too conservative isn't good either. I agree. I would have personally held it at 130, but I'm cutting through the edges and I'm thinking, okay, you can understand why the NHC is doing this. You can see it from that angle. Do I agree with it personally too either, Alex? No, I don't. I would have said it at 130. But you can understand where they're coming from to some extent. But by and large, that's the situation that we have. What are your guys' thoughts?
I completely agree with you with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So like 130 probably would have been better.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, people kind of are like, okay, it's a category 3. Especially in like the regions that are prone to like hurricanes.
Right.
They're kind of like, it's a category 3. We've dealt with this before. It's no big deal. Once it goes category 4 and 5, I'll start to worry type of situation.
Yeah. Regardless, I just want to say, let's be completely honest here. 125 and 130 miles an hour. At the end of the night, this is a very powerful category 3. And 5 miles an hour is not going to make a massive difference.
No, at that terrain,
it's still going to be the same type of destruction. You're still going to have the same impacts. So if it's 128 miles an hour versus 130, it's still going to bring close to category 4 damage.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 50 miles an hour different, exactly. I just want to get that out there because I feel like a lot of people say, oh, 1 mile an hour, 5 miles an hour now makes a massive difference on the destruction and the strength. No, it really does not. Once you get into the category 3 strength, it doesn't matter. You're going to have catastrophic damage.
Yep.
In all regards. So you cannot just look at it's a similar thing with the cone too. Everybody looks at that one line, doesn't look at the wind field, the impacts outwards. And we try and tell you guys all the time that do not just focus on the center because right now the coastline is getting slammed with major impacts regardless of the eyewall.
Yep.
And yes, the eyewall is the strongest part, but you're still getting major impacts. People are still feeling very similar impacts. And 125 to 130, it's not going to make a big difference. 5 miles an hour is not going to make a big difference. No. So at the end of the day, yes, I agree with you. It should have been 130, but knowing the National Hurricane Center from past storms, they kept that 125.
Yeah.
But 5 miles an hour at the end of the night, I still think this is going to hit category 4 before landfall.
100% for sure.
And if maybe it's 130, maybe they get another recon out there and we hit 140. But at the end of the day, regardless of how strong it is, we're going to be dealing with the same impacts that has been warned.
Absolutely.
And if you guys, I just want you guys to understand that because I know everybody's talking about the 5 mile an hour difference. But it really, if you really think about it, it doesn't make that difference that people actually think it does. That's something that I just want to get off my shoulder.
For sure.
My chest.
I appreciate Weather Kingdom. Meantime, before I get to what I want to say as well, we are 15 subscribers away from 12,000. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's try to get to 12K tonight. That would be I'd really appreciate if we could get there. But yeah, if we could do that, let's go ahead and do that as well. But
wow, you finally got out of the falling off mode.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's try to get up to 12,000 tonight and do that. But ultimately, did anyone else have anything to add before I continue on my spiel a little bit?
You can continue at this point. I think we've said everything.
All right. But yeah, what I would say is, at least in terms of NHC, I respect NHC. they've had controversial calls in the past. They've had to make controversial decisions.
Too many,
in the past.
and they don't deserve. They don't deserve the much of
Yeah.
the crap that they get half the time.
Yeah, for
from
sure.
everybody.
They don't deserve. They don't exactly deserve that. But what I will say is that in cases like this, like first of all, this is in the Eastern Pacific and this is the Atlantic. Yeah, John is mentioning it's got a face. Do you guys notice that? It's starting to cheese on us a little bit. You guys noticing that that look it's giving us? Yeah.
It's giving us a nice smile.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, anyway, what I will say is the NHC has had to make controversial decisions in the past. They get too much heat for it. Me personally, I've been pretty skeptical and kind of upset at the NHC in the past, like especially if Recon is supporting that. But I've calmed down on my criticism quite a bit, mainly because I have to understand they have to handle a lot of details. The CDO.
You're also going into the field.
Yep, same here as well. So I can't criticize them too much because they are. I do like them a lot, and NHC, please hire me. And yeah, but basically where I'm at right now with this is right now. Is it is it the right call? That's gonna be a topic for debate for a while among many weather enthusiasts and many hurricane experts and all of that. But right now, I think the NHC being conservative was a little too risky in my opinion. But that's just my personal opinion at this point, as the system makes landfall. And already, we have almost 100 concurrent viewers in here. That is crazy. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Closing in on 12,000, so we'd really appreciate if you could join us. But yeah, that's kind of the situation we're at right now. So basically, that's kind of where I'm at with this. Do I personally like the call? No. Yeah, Peter Moss said it best. I say with the incompetent recon data, 125 is entirely reasonable. Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Peter. I appreciate that. But by and large...
Hey, Pat.
Yeah, what's up?
I did text you privately.
Oh, sure.
I did text you privately whenever you have the chance.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But basically, I think the points Weather Kingdom and I are trying to make are that, yeah, incomplete. Sorry, incomplete. My apologies, Peter. I apologize. I'm sorry. I've been up for almost 18 hours now, so please give me some slack. But I think what Weather Kingdom, yeah, I think what Weather Kingdom and I are trying to stress is that, look, the NHC made the choice they made, and while we personally don't agree with it, they also, you have to understand where they're coming from with it as well. Now, if it's a situation like certain systems where, in my opinion, they blow a call, that's a completely different story. Like, there have been times the NHC has completely blown an intensity forecast, but they would eventually correct it later. And sometimes they would take care of themselves. Yeah, Peter Mott, it's okay. I got to go to bed myself. I'm getting up for work at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Peter, and thanks for the $5 donation you sent earlier. We really do appreciate it here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. But Weather Kingdom and I are just pointing out that, you know, while we personally don't agree with the call, you have to understand where they're coming from, and that's just kind of what we have to take away. And as hurricane season in the Atlantic ramps up, that's also that's something you're going to want to take into consideration more as well. But one last thing I do want to do before I close this spiel is I want to shout a good friend of mine out who's in the chat right now. Weather Kingdom, who's kind of helping me out with the stream tonight. He's been helping us out since the last year with Storms United. He would really appreciate it if you guys all went and subscribed to his channel. It's in the pinned chat right there. So if you could click on that link and subscribe to the channel, his channel if you could. That would really mean a lot to him. Also, we have our Discord server. John just posted it on. Join our Join our Discord server. Join Storms United. We'd really love to have you come on. We really appreciate that stuff. And if you want to talk to us personally about our opinions and all that stuff, you want to see the crazy behind the scenes of all this stuff that we talk about, please join. We would really appreciate to have you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff
that happens.
Yeah,
it's an awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, you guys keep
an awesome place
on Erick for me. Have a good night, all of you. Godspeed, Peter. Thanks for everything you've done tonight. But yeah, please be sure to sub to Weather Kingdom and join Storms United. I think he'd really appreciate if you sub to him, and if you know, just how do I say this? Just do that. Just do it, man. Oh, this is a good question actually, and real quickly. Pete, Pat, a bit of a late question. Why do most storms rapidly intensify at night? Mainly because because that's when diurnal max is. And to kind of explain it in layman's terms, the sun kind of suppresses the cloud top temperatures a bit. Yeah, Dmax. The sun kind of clouds the cloud temperatures a little bit. But whenever the sun goes down and the night sky comes up, there's nothing stopping that all those cloud tops and all that convection from flaring up and really just ramping up and all of that. So that's kind of the general gist of it, and that's why you see more rapidly intensifying storms at night with hurricanes. It's actually kind of the opposite to severe weather, where you see more intensification during the day instead of at night.
Yes,
because of the sun.
It's Yep, you have to think of it that these cloud tops are very cold. They're like we're having anywhere from -70 to -80 Celsius cloud tops. Yes. So you have a beating hot sun on those cloud tops, especially since it's near the equator, not at the equator, but near the equator, your hot point.
Yeah.
Where all this is. So you have all that trying to warm up these cloud tops instead of cooling the cloud tops.
Yep. All right.
So it seems like that westward jog continues. Or that
it's continuing.
West-northwest, yes.
Yeah.
And it looks like the latest National Hurricane Center's track, the eye is on the left side of it.
Yep.
So that will probably bring landfall. If I'm looking at Daniel's stream here. If you follow it along, that gets it very close to, I don't know how to say that area, but the OM, around there.
Ometepec.
Yeah, so that will probably bring a landfall closer to that side. And if we see any more
on it at this point.
Yeah.
On it at this point, any more westward jog that I don't think is really going to happen anymore. How close we are.
Don't know about that.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. All right, guys. Charlie, Weather Kingdom, Daniel, what are your overall thoughts for tonight? And with what we're dealing with in terms of Erick? What's
scary?
Yeah.
Who's going first?
Who wants to go?
I think.
Oh, Charlie,
I can go.
Oh.
Yeah, like Daniel said, it's definitely scary, and I personally think that it's going to continue to intensify, and we're definitely going to be watching it.
Yeah. All right, Daniel, Weather Kingdom, whichever you guys want to do.
You go.
No, you go.
All right. I mean, I kind of said my little spiel earlier about the 125 and the 130 miles an hour. I mean, that's still very true. But right now, this is a west, kind of paralleling the coast. Once again, same impacts we are going to be dealing with throughout tonight, regardless if it goes up another 5 mile an hour, maybe even another 10. the impacts are going to be the same. A landfall probably early tomorrow morning. And I was thinking, depending if I actually wake up to the alarm, I was going to quickly stream on the landfall of this. So
Yeah.
I might, if my alarm can
If.
wake me up on time, if, but I'll definitely try my best and just keep an eye on everything. And there's nothing too much more that we kind of explained everything.
Yeah.
And I wish Recon was in this because it would be making this so much
Easier.
more information, easier, and giving us more of an understanding of where we are at with the strength.
Yeah.
Honestly, a landfall probably by early morning, 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m. I think that's where we're kind of at right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this will continue to strengthen. If not, I think this will go into, I think most definitely a category 4 landfall.
For sure.
130, maybe even 140. I don't think, I'd say the peak intensity 140.
All right.
As of right now. But besides that, I will be also going probably and giving you guys an update on tomorrow's severe weather outbreak for the Northeast too.
All right.
So stay tuned.
Thank you very much. To kind of close it out for me, we saw a situation.
What about Daniel?
Oh, Daniel already went, I think. Daniel.
Yeah, I said it's scary.
Yeah.
I said it's scary.
Yeah.
All
right.
Oh,
That's
Yeah, but Daniel. Daniel, Weather Kingdom, Charlie. My thoughts of this. I would say you're seeing another situation similar to last year that we don't see very often at June, if at all. You saw
very true.
You saw a very rapid intensification situation occur again, and this is why it's so important to cover stuff like this, because, in my opinion, it's important. And not only am I doing this to kind of help further my knowledge in the Eastern Pacific, I'm doing this to help better my forecasting for when the Atlantic starts to get active. That's kind of the part of the reason I'm doing this, and that's why I'm doing this stream tonight, to kind of prep myself for what's going to happen in the Atlantic when that starts blowing up. So my final thoughts: if you are in the path of Erick, take this very seriously. If you are in the path of Erick, you need to, if you haven't, make your final preparations. And if you're in the path of Erick, you got to pay very close attention to this. And we'll continue to keep you updated on all of that here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the stream out here tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are currently 14 subscribers away from 12,000, so be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's try to get to 12,000 as soon as possible. The goal with this channel, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather, so I would really appreciate if you would do that for me. Also, join the Storms United Discord server. John posted it in the chat. Subscribe to Weather Kingdom. It's in the pinned chat that I posted. He would really appreciate for some more subs to his channel. I'm sure he would like it as well. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for all the support tonight. This is the best stream yet. This is the best stream yet that we have had since I've came back late last month in May. And let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep the audience building up. So, with that being said, have a wonderful evening.